The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey,
20.
let's go.
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You pink.
Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Big News Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. This program starts now.
Sports
Are happening all around us, and we believe on this particular program there's going to be some news broke over the next couple hours. Now, obviously, news broke yesterday or 2 days ago, I apologize, that we're opening up 1,750 more tickets for Big Night. Yeah, we were able to move some cameras. You know, there's some production kill zones around the arena, and instead of losing those particular seats, we're able to open them up. So there's 1,750 tickets currently available through Ticketmaster. You can scan that QR code right there to join us for a evening of laughing, singing, some giveaways, and hopefully a night that'll make you escape from the world a little bit and just have a good time. Massive surprises coming through with a lot of great ideas coming from said surprises for next Wednesday night, April 9th. 1,750 tickets currently available. If you want to come join us, come join us. $20 tickets still available, I do believe. Everything under $100 before fees still available. There are a couple isolated solo seats, that kind of happens. I've learned that whenever they say something is a sellout, that means the tickets that are available, that were available are gone. But every once in a while there'll be like solo seats in places, like one ISO. So they're opening those up too. So if you feel like you can't come alone, know that you can. And those tickets are going to be available, but we very much understand that there might be, and if you might be the person on the airplane that has the seat right next to him maybe open, or somebody will snag that and try to sell it for 10x the price of what the ticket is, which is what we learned whenever the original tickets went on for sale, which is why Evel Knievel Kid Rock was potentially,
correct,
trying to get some things done. Nonetheless, we hope you come join us next Wednesday night in Pittsburgh. It'll be a blast. We have Shams Charania joining us in about 13 minutes or so. He's senior insider for the NBA on this ESPN. And then we'll have Trey Hendrickson of the Cincinnati Bengals joining us in the next hour. And I think Cincinnati Bengals fans, just as soon as they heard those words come out of my mouth, go, whoa.
Wait a minute.
What? What's going on here? Well, there was a moment yesterday at the owners' meeting where Miss Katie, who is the current runner of the team, Mr. Brown's daughter, is running the Cincinnati Bengals, where there was a quote said something along the lines of that Trey Hendrickson should be happy at certain rates that maybe he doesn't think he'd be happy at. I think some of it is on him to be happy at some point, and if he's not, that's what holds up sometimes. So, it takes him to say yes to something, and also we have all the respect in the world for him. He's been a great player. We're happy to have him, and so maybe we'll find a way to get something to work. We're just going to see where it goes. And then she said she literally doesn't know what's going to end up happening with Trey Hendrickson. We're going to ask him about that. That feels like a pretty prevalent quote in his life, his business, everything that is happening around him. Remember, he is the sack king, and we just saw what Myles Garrett went for. Obviously, Danielle Hunter just signed a deal. Max Crosby just signed a deal. So there is a market basically already that has been established from all the way over $40 million to mid-30s. Lower 30 million. TJ Watt is not signed yet. Micah Parsons, who has David Mulugeta as his agent, also has all those comps and is going to be negotiating with Jerry Jones, who said he didn't even know who he was. And then Mulugeta comes out and goes, he's not supposed to know me. It's all about Micah and getting what he deserves, which is exactly the Mulugeta playbook. But if I was the Cincinnati Bengals and I'm going to try to get a deal done with Trey Hendrickson, I'd be trying to get this deal done before Mulugeta gets his deal done. Mulugeta's the one that did the Deshaun Watson deal.
Right.
But not just that deal. Basically, every single position, the person that is at the top of the payment class is represented by David Mulugeta. Mulugeta is a dog. Mulugeta also has a sneaker store, I believe, down in Texas where he sells shoes. Yeah, you're talking about just like hustler, but one of the greatest businessmen that we have ever seen, and also one of the greatest negotiators we've ever seen. So he already has the Myles Garrett contract sitting on deck for his Micah negotiation. But whatever he's going to do is going to be absurd. So that market that is currently, let alone what TJ is going to, so that market is currently moving. So like, we've talked about this plenty of times before. If you plan on paying somebody and having them be around your program for a while, it's better to get it done right now, because especially at a quarterback sacking position in 2025, a disrupt the pass game position, a defensive end position that is a highly paid position, the sack king of it. You would think you'd want to get that thing done, as opposed to being like, this guy, he's be happy about what? That's a wild quote.
Yeah.
I'll be excited to see what Trey says about it all. And hopefully, once again, the Cincinnati Bengals will do something that they hadn't really done in the past, which is pay one of their guys, keep them around, and continue to build, which they've been able to do with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Joey Burrow. Will they be able to do it on the defensive side? They were saying they were hopeful for it. We'll see what Trey Hendrickson has to say about it all. And are they even still talking? Have they even been negotiating? So many questions. That's a big story coming out of that Cincinnati, Ohio, beautiful city. So we'll talk to him. Then also we have a preview from Netflix that's never been seen before.
Okay.
Yeah, they got a new Drive to Survive happening.
Love it.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's in a world that I don't know much about, but it's obviously a very popular world. And then once you watch the teaser, it's like, oh, that's going to be sick there. Talking about horse racing.
Okay.
Thompson Table's here.
Okay.
At Boston Connor, at Ty Schmidt. One half of the Hammer, Dahn. Ball cap wears AP Tone is here. Good to see you, Tone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good hat.
That is a good hat. Rose Bowl game. You're just bouncing back and forth here, cowboy hat, baseball cap.
I would want everyone to be weather aware today. It's high winds, high tornado potential today, so cowboy hat didn't want that to blow away.
Oh, okay. I thought if you could feel it.
You can chase it.
That's what I thought we would have the cowboy hat on. But
I don't want to lose my precious cowboy hats. I will chase it in a ball cap, though.
Yes, you certainly will. You're turning that thing backwards if you need to, like your Dan Quinn down there in Florida at the owners' meeting. Let's go to 9-year NFL vet Darius J. Butler is here.
Yes, sir.
D-Butch, you look so cool. And obviously, we're going to break some news here today, I assume. Happens on a regular basis. But the NBA was the news of the morning in the sports world. What a night last night for the association. Couple megastars went bananas.
Yeah, huge night for the NBA. This is the time of the year where, you know, the stars, the superstars, and the team starts to cook. We talked about how close we are to the playoffs. And let's start right at the top of the food chain with Joker, who SGA is the betting favorite to be the MVP this year. But Joker is having another phenomenal season. Just night in and night out, he puts up ridiculous video game-like numbers. Last night, 61 points in the triple-double, which is the highest scoring effort in the triple-double. Third player to ever do this in NBA history, other two being Luka and then James Harden. But just phenomenal. The way he controls the game, I mean, we talk about all-time greats, all-time lists. He is climbing up there every year. I think right now already he's probably top 10 ever.
Joker could play in any era.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Good, like, would like to also
Era.
put that out there.
Any ever. Like his athleticism, people probably point at that and say, oh, this, that, and the third. His defense, people point at that. But he dominates the game. He's so efficient on offense. When he's not scoring, he's getting somebody else in position to score. He's rebounding on both ends of the court. And I think he does play better defense than he's given credit for. Just an absolute dominant force out there. And this game was unbelievable. Just finished the game. Edwards had a big night as well. Russ kind of had some tough plays down the stretch, so they didn't get the win in this incredible effort from Joker. Timberwolves got the win. Some big news coming from the Timberwolves as well that we'll talk about later. But an incredible night, an incredible ending to this basketball game. And another player, talking about the top of the food chain.
Hold on. We got to let this finish here.
Okay.
The game is finishing up here. This is in double overtime. Russell missed the layup there. Full speed, hard. Yep. You know, it's going to be tough. And then he comes down here, fouls this guy. Okay, so this guy now shooting a three gets fouled by Russell Westbrook. So you're talking about a terrible
Don't love that call.
A terrible 12-second run.
Yeah.
Obviously, people say it shouldn't have been a call. Watching the NBA, that's always going to get called. Game winner, though. Do you make the call? So many conversations. This guy would obviously hit him, and then, you know, Russell Westbrook would be the one that would be talked about in it all. I think what Russ has done in Denver, I think a lot of people say great for Russ.
Oh, yeah.
Good for everything. Last night was a classic. At the end, he almost fought a guy, too, allegedly.
Yeah, one of the fans probably said something, you know, out of pocket. Russ,
assume.
another all-time great.
That's Russ.
That is
And
right.
Denver's going to love having
Yeah.
Russ around. But last night, that just is a awful way to end that game for us, especially with what Joker did. Westbrook feels terrible, I would assume, about it all. And congrats to the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
That's a huge win.
Big win.
Huge win.
Big
They're
win.
currently, obviously, in the playoff conversation down there.
Yeah, a lot of these wins and losses obviously have huge playoff implications. And Steph Curry, man, yesterday, one of my boys, Lewis Murphy, played in the league for a long time, good friend of mine, went on his podcast during the Super Bowl, and he posted it actually yesterday morning. Steph Curry, where he is in my top 5 rankings. And boy, I don't know if he looked at the post, if somebody got in his ear, but he showed off and made me look smart. 52 points, had 32 at the half, 12 threes, 12 for 23 from behind the arc, 10 rebounds, 5 steals as well. Another guy that doesn't get maybe as much credit. Can be a liability on defense for sure, but will show up and absolutely pad the stat sheet. But just an unbelievable weapon. All-time great player. Best shooter. That's not even an argument in NBA history. And I thought, the name of the game is putting the ball in the bucket, and nobody does it from further, from behind the three-point arc. He had a phenomenal performance last night against the Grizzlies, who, once again, good game. So he was running, he was putting up all these numbers, and you're looking at the score, and they were only up 1 point, down 3. So this was a back-and-forth game pretty much all night. Ja Morant had a great game we talked about it yesterday, their coach being fired when they were sitting in the 4 seed. But just an unbelievable performance. Steph Curry, he's still playing at the top of his game, still elite. We saw the performance he had in the Olympics, and now with him being healthy, he missed about a week or so with an ankle injury, a tailbone injury. He came back. He looks fresh. He looks rested. Jimmy Butler had a great performance as well. So they're clicking right now. The Warriors, I think, will be a tough out when we get into these playoffs.
27 times he's made at least 10 threes, that's it.
Yeah.
That is most by a player in NBA history. 12 is not the most in a game. I guess Klay Thompson actually has the most in a game, but I guess Steph is obviously top 3 in that mark as well. Whenever that bucket looks big for Steph early, that's electrifying. That was what changed all of basketball. And
all of basketball.
All of basketball. The 7-on-7s, I think, changed the NFL, and the rules changing, I think, changed the NFL as a whole. Steph Curry changed all of basketball because, undersized. In real life, he's taller than everybody. But undersized is what it was. And when, he goes to Dayton or whatever, under-recruited, even though his dad was a ball player. And then the ability just to make threes, and his entire story was he just never left the gym. So it gave everybody hope that if you worked on threes, the muscle memory would be able to show up, and you can just make something that's worth more than 2 points on a regular basis. There was a time there for 4 or 5 years where it felt like any time Steph pulled up, it did not matter where he was at, it was going to fall. Step backs, in front of people, around people, off balance, backwards. And then him and Klay, the 1-2 punch, what they were able to accomplish was just like a cheat code, which caused everybody to think that this is how it has to be. I think if you chit-chat with some of the older generation basketball players, which we did with Tyler Hansborough, let alone everybody else is speaking, and Shaq talks about having a big man, it's like you still got to be able to bang from down low. Not everything's just a lucky, everything's like a lucky 3. It's like, for Steph, it wasn't luck. It was like a very much trained skill. And obviously a lot of guys are like that nowadays, but it's like everybody thought that is what they were going to become, especially if they were slightly undersized. And it's like, if he gets back to doing this, boy, that would be an absurd thing for the NBA, especially going into playoffs with Jimmy Butler, who is a playoff machine for the Golden State Warriors to get back in the conversation in a big way in the NBA.
Yeah, trained skill to your point, too. I'm pretty sure there's a story of him going like 97 of 100 threes during practice, so it's not as if he's just showing up and doing this. Obviously, he worked his ass off for it. The 27th game with 10-plus threes, I believe second place is Klay Thompson with only 9, so you could say he has a pretty hefty lead above everybody. And then just looking forward to the playoffs, I believe right now is the Lakers versus Warriors matchup that a lot of people obviously are circling for the playoffs. But yeah, this is just unbelievable. Who knows?
This is old Steph. That's old Steph. Right there.
He's still doing it, still bringing it. And like you mentioned, it completely changed the game. Like even when they were going in their early runs and not necessarily winning it yet, a lot of the talking heads were saying, like, you can't win a championship this way. It's just like, when you saw it change in the NFL when it became much more of a passing game, you talked about 7-on-7. But, yeah, they changed the game not only for NBA basketball, but college, high school, women's, men's. Like, everyone globally plays the game differently because of what the Splash Brothers, Steph and Klay, were able to do. And then what he's still doing, I believe he's now has the most 50-point games for a guy over 30. I think he just passed LeBron for most 50-point games in a career. I think this was 15th. Him and LeBron were tied at 14. So you're talking about just consistently dominant and kind of like Joker because of he's not a player that plays above the rim. He's not, he's not 6'6" and just unbelievable athleticism. So he doesn't get the respect all the time, I don't think, as the other greats of the game have.
You gave him a lot of respect on that podcast.
I mean, I got to speak out for the chef. I don't think enough people do. And obviously, some names you bring up, and it gets a little touchy there. But he's in my top 5, especially. I only rank the guys that I actually watch play. I'm not ranking Kareem. I'm not ranking really Magic. I saw MJ. I saw Kobe. I saw Bron, Shaq. So those guys with Steph round up my top 5.
I've been watching some 1970s basketball more than ever before.
I have to.
Look for our journalistic report on that coming rather soon. But yes, I agree. In the different eras that we've seen of basketball, it's like obviously there was a time where there wasn't even a three-point shot.
Yep.
So the three-point line didn't even exist. What this dude does is bananas. But I think it's also given a lot of false confidence to a lot of people that aren't Steph Curry.
Without a doubt.
That they think they,
Without a doubt.
oh yeah, I can make threes.
Yeah.
How many can you make? I go like 5 or 10. That's phenomenal. That's really good. 97 of 100 is what Steph does. So you got to keep on working, brother. And changing the game, changing the math is obviously a big deal. Congrats to Golden State, still bringing it. Still bringing it. Also, last night, baseball is still happening right in front of our eyes. And I'll tell you what, this year we have made a conscientious effort to keep baseball in the conversation, strictly because the Pittsburgh Pirates got Paul Skeens. And guess what? It's Skeens Bump Day today, baby. Hey. Is it not?
It is Skeens Day. A little bit different today. They are playing the Tampa Bay Rays, whose home stadium for this year is actually the Yankees spring training facility, George Steinbrenner Field, because the Trop was damaged so heavily in the hurricanes down there. So it'll be very interesting to see how, just kind of like the whole year, how people react to playing here, because it's not a major league stadium. It's a spring training facility. It's probably, it's going to be hot. Bruce actually said that due to a bunch of weather and rain coming to Tampa in the near future, the Rays start with like a massive homestand, and then they're just going to be on a massive road trip, which doesn't typically happen. Like teams sometimes will have like West Coast swings, but they don't often play a bunch of home games and then just play a bunch of road games. Last night, baseball is just on like kind of the periphery right now with the NBA starting the playoffs soon. So like there will be a couple like stories to kind of watch until the NBA is over, until we're in like the heat of the summer. Dodgers still undefeated, one of the best starts in the history of baseball, which everyone kind of anticipated they were going to do. The entire narrative is like, hey, is anyone going to be able to beat these guys? They're just too good. As of right now, they haven't lost yet, so it kind of holds true.
162-0.
It's possible. It's possible. It's probably not going to happen, but it's certainly possible. There's a very good chance that they break the single season record for most wins in a season. They played the Braves, who are a team that a lot of people thought would contend for an NL pennant. They are defeated on the year. They have not won yet.
0 and 162.
Still on the table, which is kind of crazy because Diggs was doing a little research before he pulled up the betting odds. They're still like the 5th favorite to win the World Series this year. 4th favorite. There you go. So, not exactly time to panic quite yet. But this is, third. Well, I guess tied with the Mets and Phillies, et cetera. Tied for third. But so this is the thing about baseball is people early on in the season go nuts when teams have bad starts. You mentioned they play 162 games. So 0-6 isn't exactly, it's not like starting 0-4 in the NFL or 0-5 or something like that. They have plenty of time to right the ship. And then the other kind of big news last night in the majors, Yankees were playing the D-backs, who Ken Kendrick owns.
Shout out West Virginia legend.
Shout out. Mm-hmm.
Saw him take a picture with Rich Rodriguez. He might be back.
He might be back. And the Yankees, it was 4-3 in the top of the 8th inning. And Mark Leiter Jr. unfortunately gave up a grand slam to Eugenio Suarez, who he has 5 hits on the year. All 5 are home runs. This guy, just hitting tanks. Very poor timed jump by Cody Bellinger there. I think he could have robbed that one if he would have waited a tiny bit. But yeah, baseball's in full swing. The torpedo bats, again, that'll be something to monitor kind of going forward. I don't know if he was using one. I don't think he was. But yeah, if you're kind of just a casual baseball fan,
tough, poorly timed,
very poorly timed.
Kind of looked like Tebow.
But again, it's one of those things where he is their everyday. He's their everyday center fielder. So there was a defensive replacement. They kicked him over to left field. So
Oh, the wall's different.
Maybe he's not as familiar with the wall in left field over there.
Yeah, it's got a little bend on it.
Exactly. And also, the ad changed colors right as he was about to
in his back
Yeah,
swing.
exactly. So I don't know what you want him to do. So the Yanks had their first loss of the season last night. But you mentioned it. Hey, Skeens Day. There's a bunch of other good games on the slate. So, if you're not a huge basketball fan or you're just looking for something to kind of have on in the background while you're, on your phone, baseball's a good option.
Baseball's a great conversation the next day after the game. Following the entirety of it is a little bit more difficult. I've even tried. Definitely good for the background, being on the phone, doing other things. Shout out to baseball. You just talked about it. Basketball obviously happening live and in color right now in a big way. Joining us, senior NBA insider for ESPN, ladies and gentlemen, front of the program, Shams Charania. Wow, look how cool you look, Shams.
What's good? Pat, I don't know how you do it. One day you're in London, next day you're in Indy, in the Thunderdome. Yeah. We got to give you props for that.
Well, I appreciate you doing that. There's a lot of people that hate everything about it, but I do, and I've heard from them, obviously, in the last 24 hours in a big way. But I appreciate you, man. Just trying to work as hard as you and as hard as the insiders do. With that being said, Shams, you're the guy that has always kept us informed on what's going on in the association. From what I've been told, you have some massive breaking news here, Shams.
Pat, I do have some news. Sources tell ESPN, sources tell us on the Pat McAfee Show here. Carmelo Anthony has been notified. He has been elected into the Basketball Hall of Fame, the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame class of 2025. He's the landmark player, the big name player here for this Hall of Fame class, and 10-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA team, the 10th leading scorer of all time in NBA history. We know how great he was with the New York Knicks, the Denver Nuggets. He had late runs with the Thunder, the Portland Trailblazers, finished his career with the Lakers. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Congratulations, Melo! Obviously, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn is fantastic. He's a businessman. I think it just came out that he's looking to potentially get ownership of the Wizards. Just a kid from Baltimore that has obviously transformed not only him, but his whole family's lives with an incredible work ethic that has now led to him being a first ballot Hall of Famer. He used to be so silky. Just take over games, too. People talk about being able to create your own shot or being able to knock down shots. Obviously, we're just talking about Steph and everything like that. And we talk about the big guys that were shooters. It was like Melo was one of the first guys that was so silky, big man, and he always looked so cool while he was doing it. Congrats to him. He's part of that class. Braun, CP, Dwayne Wade, Melo, they're all like boys, I believe, and they all have obviously impacted the game in a massive way.
Yeah, and even before he went pro, like his one-and-done year at Syracuse, probably the best one-and-done ever on the collegiate level. Just a bucket, an absolute bucket. We talk about these stat lines with Joker and what Steph put up. I know a few years ago he had a stat line, 62 points, no rebounds, no assists, no other bullshit, just straight buckets. And that's Melo right there, man. It's a dope honor to see him going in first ballot. Well
and DB, an inspiration. You think about, everyone looks at Kevin Durant now, the greatest scorer of all time, or one of the greatest scorers of all time. Pure basketball scorer. That's what Carmelo Anthony was. He's arguably the most pure scorer even to this day. So he is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
His boy too, right?
Oh yeah,
committed to
going to Syracuse.
Yeah. He's a congrats, Melo. That's a big ordeal. Obviously, your peers think you're great. That's all you could ever really hope for. Now, what do you guys do? A jacket over there in the NBA? A ring? What is it?
No, there's definitely a ring. There's an orange jacket that I'm sure you guys can find a picture of somewhere. But there is a nice ceremony. They're going to be enshrined. There's going to be an announcement this weekend in San Antonio at the Final Four on Saturday, and then there's going to be a formal enshrinement in the fall.
Okay, well, can't wait to celebrate it all. And he headlines the 2025 Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame class. Well-deserved, well-earned. All right, let's talk about some other things happening around the NBA. We just talked about Steph Curry going apeshit last night. And obviously this Golden State team, since the Jimmy Butler trade, has been a different squad than it was at the beginning of the year. What should we think about the Golden State Warriors? And are they a real threat to go win this entire thing with Jimmy Butler now on their team alongside Draymond, Steph, and the boys?
Jimmy Butler wanted out of Miami? Jimmy Butler got traded?
No,
I didn't know. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. He wanted to go to Golden State at first? Wow, this is shocking. I'm surprised he's there. They're 18-2 with him. And the biggest issue for the Warriors before they got Jimmy Butler was when Stephen Curry is off the floor, they were minus 60. With Jimmy Butler in the lineup, they're plus 41, I believe is the stat. That is a massive difference. The impact that he has, you can't put numbers to it. And honestly, Pat, Jimmy Butler's season's coming up. That's the playoffs. That's when he takes his game to a whole nother level. But what Steph Curry's doing right now, I mean, to me, of course, the athleticism, the speed, that all fades with age, with time. Father Time's undefeated. You guys just had LeBron James in there. I know, was it last week? He's also taken a dip when speed and athleticism. So has Steph. But what both of them, I think, are even elevated with now is skill, smarts, IQ, and honestly, their conditioning and overall basketball acumen. I mean, and that's what Stephen Curry's doing right now. I think he's just as good of a shooter now, if not better than he's ever been.
Yeah, the Jimmy Butler and Steph seem to be perfect together. Draymond, Jimmy Butler seem to be perfect together. And you think about just Draymond and Jimmy in the playoffs, that's going to be hell in a best of 7, no matter who it is. Just dealing with, let alone playing basketball, dealing with them is going to be a problem in a series. It's going to be good to see Golden State back into the conversation. And now all eyes with the current seeding are saying that we got a potential LeBron and Luka versus Steph and Jimmy in the first round. It's like,
if I'm the Lakers, though, I'm trying to move up. I'm trying to get to like number 3. If I can play Memphis at 6. But, you look at the standings right there. Like Minnesota's in position right now. The way they're surging, they look like the team that's going to be primed for the 6th seed. But if I'm the Lakers, I'm trying to get to 3 and pray that Memphis can get 6 because that's an easier path potentially. The Warriors are going to be a problem. Like you said, Draymond Green, dog. Jimmy Butler, dog. These guys are go-getters. These guys, and that's the other thing. They've bonded. They've really come together. That was a big worry for the Warriors. How would Jimmy Butler come in and coexist? He's been perfect for them.
Draymond said on his podcast, we don't have any idea how Shams found out. We were at a house party. So unless it was the people serving us drinks in the house. And is your name Shams? Have we been saying it wrong this entire time?
Nah, it's Shams. It's Shams. Draymond Helper knows that. Come on, Draymond.
That's awesome. We like that even more. Okay, you talked about the Lakers moving up. Well, they would have to pass Denver. Joker just went for 61 in a triple-double. Obviously, that's going to be a tough task. In a loss to the Timberwolves, who you've talked about, is currently surging. On that note, D-Bud has a question for you.
It's currently surging, but ownership has finally changed hands, going from Glenn over to Mark and A-Rod. Any more details on that? I saw you tweeted out. I saw the number. I know the number surprised me. It's still $1.5 billion that they agreed to in 2021, which is crazy after seeing what the Celtics just went for. But any other details with this Timberwolves trade? Ownership
DB,
change.
This is. I mean, it really is a trade. It's a trade of Glenn Taylor out after 31 years of ownership, the old guard per se out, and that's something that Minnesota, that market, they've been kind of waiting for this to settle. Will it settle? How will it happen? And Mark Lowry, Alex Rodriguez, they brought this vibrant energy to that market, and they're fully invested in that market. They have plans to build a new arena. You look at, they hired Tim Connolly, the president of basketball operations there. He was the former president of the Denver Nuggets, who won a championship the year after he left with the team that he constructed, and now he's running things in Minnesota. That's their guy. And what we've seen here around Anthony Edwards, around this young team, Julius Randle has played at a much higher level. He has 3 straight games of 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He's turned it around, and he's become a key member of this team, allowing them to have another playmaker with Anthony Edwards. But it's a totally different vibe with A-Rod and Mark Lowry. And one other thing to keep an eye on, guys, they're going to work to rekindle that relationship with Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett still does not have his number 21 big ticket jersey retired as a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves. He refused to get that retired with Glenn Taylor as an owner. Now, I do expect that to change, and I do expect them to have some more conversations on what potential role he could have with that organization, with Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lowry moving forward. But this is big news for the league. $1.5 billion. You have to give Glenn Taylor a shout out. He bought the team in 1994 for $94 million. He has now sold it finally for $1.5 billion. Not a bad come up, even though it took some scraping and clawing to get here.
Yeah, certainly for Glenn Taylor, $94 million in 1994. I assume that was considered a massive amount of money. And then he sells and becomes a billionaire with the sole sale to Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lowry. Congrats, A-Rod, by the way, former athlete in the business world. We're obviously incredibly pumped for him for that. But that $1.5 billion number seems wild whenever you read it. Now, this was agreed to in 2021, and obviously there was litigation, and that
it's
was
a heist.
Yeah, okay.
It's a heist.
Could A-Rod and Mark literally put that thing up for sale right now? And they get $3 billion, I'd assume. If you were to go ahead.
No team is selling for less than $3 billion ever again in the NBA. So just right off the bat, that's why if there was ever a question, there was a lot of chatter in the space. Do they have the money? Do they have this? They've had the money. They've had the money. I think I said it on this show at the start of the season. They've had almost $1 billion sitting in escrow, waiting for Glenn Taylor to cede and relinquish this so they can wire it over to him. And that's still the case. So they have to do that here in the coming weeks. Then they're waiting on the Board of Governors vote, which is all expected to be a formality. But this team, right off bat, with Anthony Edwards in that market, they have control of their arena as well for the next 7-8 years. That's a big aspect of it. And which part?
Come on.
What else they get?
The Minnesota Lynx.
Come on.
And the Minnesota Lynx. Minnesota Timberwolves and Minnesota Lynx.
Okay,
yes, that was in the tweet,
Thank you.
That was in the tweet.
Yeah.
That was in the tweet.
I just want to make sure we all understand. I just want to make sure we all understand what's happening here.
Oh, don't.
Couple franchises. A lot of people saying stuff about us. A lot of stuff. Just want to make sure we knew. We knew. Congrats to the Lynx on the new ownership as well. And congrats.
Shout out the Lynx. Nafisa Collier. One of the best WNBA players out there, started Unrivaled, which I think we broke on this show. We talked about on this show. So,
I watched the Vinyl team play.
Yeah, the Vinyl and the Roses.
I watched them play down there. It was good stuff. We were actually going to send somebody down there because we didn't see a lot of. Did we?
No,
not really.
No, we actually saw the Lynx shooting hoops yesterday on Twitter. That was going around again.
Yeah, congrats to all parties here in Minnesota, and we are happy that A-Rod is now the owner of a team.
Pumped.
Okay, because former players getting into ownership, I think, is good, and if they're able to bring back KG into the fold, that's obviously good news for all parties.
Former player, young owner, brings a different energy. Anytime you can bring some youth into it, bring some energy. Minority owner as well. So yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a big moment for the league to have Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lowry soon to be sworn in as an owner.
They need to think about just putting that thing back up for sale.
Fact.
They need to just think about putting it back up for sale.
Smart.
And double their money easily, seemingly.
Is Washington selling at any point? I know Melo talked about it. But.
Yeah, like for a pack of bubble gum, I think is what they're saying.
No, they're really good.
Would that be Bezos? Washington?
Maybe.
Or even Harris.
Oh, yeah, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but are you allowed to? Did he have to sell Sixers to be a part of Commanders?
What about
Kroenke? No, he still owns the team.
You can own. Okay. Anyways, there's people who have a lot of money these days. And owning a sports team is like the thing for all these mega billionaires who own boats that are bigger than that boat that is rolling through the back of Shams' shop. They would do that. They would buy, especially with Ant on that team, fresh out of what happened last night. Joker goes for 61 in a loss against the Minnesota Timberwolves with how electrifying that atmosphere was. I know it was in Denver, not Minnesota, but it's like the NBA, I think, is in a good time right now. Yeah. Now, there is some conversation around some stars that are currently taking place. Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Shams. KD and the Suns. Unfortunately, KD gets hurt. Feels like he might be done for the year. They're kind of out of the playoff race right now. Saw some rumors, Kevin Durant loves Boston. Maybe he, goes up there, decides, might as well pass on some more knowledge to Tatum and grab a couple more rings. What are you hearing with KD? I believe it was reported that they're already trying to work out something of, kind of letting KD go where he wants to go. And
which would be where? Pacers?
Which would probably be Boston,
Miami?
just because Boston, we're joking about, the T-Wolves selling for $1.5 billion. Hey, guess what? No other basketball team's going for more than the Celtics because the Celtics are our brand. And we're talking about Kevin Garnett and the T-Wolves. No one remembers KG from the T-Wolves. They remember him as a Boston Celtic because that's where he won a championship. Just like Peyton Manning with the Colts, you only see him in a Broncos uniform. But what do you hear?
How it ended?
Sure, maybe, but again, exactly.
$6 billion is what the Celtics went for.
Yeah, 6.1, most ever.
You know what, BC? I think you might end up being the most hated man in Indy today after that comment about good old Peyton Manning.
Nah, I think there's a lot of people in India that are like, we're not happy about the way it all went down either.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, KD going to the Celtics is crazy to think about, especially on the run that they're on. But I guess this is a real possibility after this season. What are we hearing with KD and the Suns? Because it was my understanding that was like going to be an impossible thing to get done. Either trade in more players to the Suns because of everything they've kind of given up to build this team, or to get rid of any guys, how much it would affect them. KD could be moved. What is the likelihood of this, and how does it work out?
Definitely could be. So you look at this from a macro perspective. We've seen from Matt Ishbia the last 2.5 years how aggressive he's been. He has not spared any expenses. He's clearly showing that as an owner, as an NBA owner, he's willing to take multiple swings. He wants to take millions of swings at the bat to try to win a championship. That's what he did 2 years ago when he went and got Kevin Durant. This iteration of this team, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, then you bring in Bradley Beal the summer of 2024, or summer 2023, it just hasn't worked out in Phoenix. And from a holistic perspective, there's going to be changes coming to Phoenix, barring a miracle finish to the year. There's going to be a lot that they're going to have to look at to evaluate throughout the organization. But from a roster perspective, that's going to start with Kevin Durant and potentially finding him a new home. Unlike at the trade deadline when he was almost traded to the Warriors, the Suns, Kevin Durant, they would work together on any trade. But I can tell you guys this, back at the NBA trade deadline, there were a list of teams that there was mutual interest with Kevin Durant and those teams from my understanding. And that's Minnesota, that's New York, that's Houston, San Antonio, Miami.
Okay.
Those are the types of teams, from my understanding, that had interest then, and I expect them all to be in the mix this offseason. But the biggest thing to keep an eye on for all NBA fans and fans of those teams, how does your team finish in the playoffs? How do the playoffs go? Because that's going to really determine who feels like they're a Kevin Durant away. And there's going to be, they might not get what they got back, what they gave up for Kevin Durant. You think about all the picks and the swaps, but they're going to get a pretty good haul back for a guy. He just finished his 12th year, Pat, averaging 25 points and 50% shooting, 12 consecutive seasons. I saw Tim Legler say on NBA Today earlier this week, Michael Jordan and Kawhi Leonard have 10 combined over the course of their careers. So Kevin Durant's done it 12 consecutive years. He's still playing at an elite level. The Suns could get a haul for him this summer. I expect those conversations to heat up, really is the playoffs and into the offseason, into the draft.
Loves ball, too, right? Like, that's kind of the thing. He just loves ball, loves hooping through and through, loves trolling every once in a while, loves burying people on the internet every once in a while, which we respect over here at the Pat McAfee Show. But then him still being able to just shoot whenever he wants to. I had a chance to talk to the Texas Longhorns equipment manager. KD donated a lot of money back to Texas to build them a practice facility, and that was a place where he would work out during the offseason or whatever. And the Texas equipment manager would tell me he'd be in there at like midnight or 1 a.m., whatever it is, shooting. And he would do some shooting drill for threes. And he would stop and go back to the beginning. He's trying to get through it. If he didn't like the sound of the swish, let alone just swishing every shot, it was the sound of the splash would make him restart the drill or whatever. So when you talk about work ethic and being meticulous about greatness, like, there's a reason 12 straight years you're able to accomplish something like that. Now, he says he's not 7 foot. Everybody around him says he's anywhere from 6'9" to 6'11", but when you're around him, he's like 7'2" or whatever. And I don't think he wanted to be known as like the 7 foot tall in the paint, because when he comes into the league, vastly different story for 7-footers versus what it is now. He's obviously transformed the game, and he's obviously an inspiration. We talked about Carmelo. KD is for a lot of guys as well. But if he gets into his stage of his career here, going into year 13, where he can just Ray Allen, like all he's going to really have to do is just kind of fucking post up. He can play for 20 more years if he really wanted to. I'm not going to say we're not going to see the silky sweet Kevin Durant fade away, take over a game like he did in the Olympics for Team USA and everything like that. But he's getting into a stage just like LeBron with Luka, where he can cut off ball. Let me go ahead and just kind of chill. Yeah. I mean, that's dangerous. That is a dangerous thing just to add to a team like Wemby. Wemby's going to take up a lot of attention, obviously, the way they're being built. So if KD can be attention getter number 3 on a team or something like that. That's an insane period to be in.
It's a cheat code. It was a part when he went to the Warriors with the Splash Brothers. Like, it was impossible because you couldn't help off those guys, and now you got KD ISO and the style of his game. To your point, he can play at a very, very high level for another 4-5 years with how he's always able to create a shot with his height and his length. But he has handles like that. That's what kind of became the new archetype now with Chet and Wemby and these long, tall guys who can actually handle the ball, shoot the ball, and you mentioned it, can play in any type of offense. So yeah, Kevin. Hey, Miami.
No, Indiana.
Miami. Beautiful. Spo.
Houston makes the most sense because him and Udoka have a really good relationship from Brooklyn, and also they don't really have like a KD player. They have like Amen Thompson, who everyone is falling in love with. He's going off, and then also like Sengun, Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, but they don't have like a KD-esque player.
Feels like you were agreeing there, Shams, whenever Connor was saying.
Yeah, I mean, Houston, that's a team that you have to look at. They have the leadership, Ime Udoka. They have pieces in place. I will say this, though. Miami really had an opportunity to go get Kevin Durant at the trade deadline this past the deadline in February. They offered Jimmy Butler and Josh Richardson for Kevin Durant. You up the ante a little bit. You got to up the ante. We're talking about Kevin Durant here.
Does Kevin Durant like chocolate chip cookies or no?
That I don't have access to that information. Who doesn't like Pat? Find me who doesn't like chocolate chip cookies.
Pat Riley doesn't like people liking them. Pat Riley, that's
the problem. That's the problem. We have to.
We heard it was a problem.
A cookie investigation.
Big problem.
But I will say for BC, for his Celtics, there was a lot of mutual interest between Kevin Durant and the Celtics in the summer of 2022 when he asked for a trade. And I know right now you probably hate me saying this. They offered Jaylen Brown. They offered Derek White. They offered a first-round pick.
I remember.
Brooklyn had said no, and they kept him. And then they ultimately traded him for a haul from Phoenix. So it's just tough now, even if the Celtics had interest, even if Kevin Durant wants to go badly to the Boston Celtics now, from a cap machinations perspective, they would have to trade 2-3 players, significant players. We're talking like guys like Drew, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, multiple guys just to get Kevin Durant.
Done.
Don't make that face.
Finals MVP. BC, you would do that. You would do that, BC. You would trade Jaylen and
I would never do that, but I don't know if you guys have seen, Sharman, old 55, the boy we got from Creighton last year. He's a hooper, brother. And by the way, hey, who's the G League MVP? Shams, why don't you tell the people?
J.D. Davidson. I just saw that.
J.D. Davidson. Who's he play for? The Maine Lobster Claws, or whatever their name is.
You guys are getting younger and better, huh?
Yeah. They might be the Maine Celtics now, though. So shout out Maine.
The Maine Lobster Claws are a problem, dude.
You have no idea.
I think maybe Bronny didn't get to play in enough games, though. That's probably why he wasn't the MVP, because he was splitting time with the Lakers and the G League.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, maybe that's why the Lobster Claw was able to get the MVP.
I mean, you don't want to see the Claws break it down on defense, brother.
Well, I was actually in Maine the other day, Bangor, Maine.
Great place.
I stopped by Bangor, Maine. Shout out to my guy, Joe. Joe was awesome. On the plane, off the plane. The Maine Celtics now, but they are a Lobster Claw away.
Yeah, I mean, look, when I loved and lived and died with them, they were the Lobster Claws. So what do you want from me?
Yeah, you're an old school fan, of course.
Exactly.
Excited to see what happens with KD. Maybe he comes to the Indiana Pacers. Speaking of future players that we have a lot of vested interest in, Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Shams, it's that time. Need another Zion update. So, I mean, at this point, this is the 4th season where he's played 30 games or less. They're sitting him for the rest of the year. We had the kind of not narrative. He said earlier this year, like, listen, I want to play. I'm ready to play. They don't want me to play. We saw him get in the best shape of his life this year as well. At what point does the rubber meet the road here? I mean, I think it's pretty evident, like, he needs to get out of New Orleans. He needs a new home. So what the hell is happening?
Ty, this summer, I think, is the moment of truth for the Pelicans and for Zion Williamson. Like, for Zion Williamson, we see right there, he's missed more games than he's played, right? Like, we know when he's on the floor, that's the thing. When he's on the floor, he has game-changing ability. He makes this team a contender. This is a team, the last couple of years, before he's had injuries, they're fighting for the playoffs. One year, it was either last year or the year before, they literally were like a top 2 or 3 seed in the NBA. in the Western Conference, and then he suffers a hamstring strain and he's out for months and months and months, which is the same, which has happened repeatedly. He's had chronic hamstring injuries. So, my educated, knowledge-based look at this situation is the Pelicans and Zion Williamson have to have a sit down this summer and really get on the same page. And I know people around Zion Williamson, they're looking out for the best in him, want to see him succeed at a really high level. And that starts with everything. He got suspended early in the year for being late to a team flight. And that's not the first time he's been late. And so the biggest thing for the Pelicans is getting him on board, getting both sides to figure out exactly where this is going to go if this team is going to be realizing its potential. Because on paper, they've got a really, really talented roster. They just have not been able to put it together, and a lot of it starts with health.
On paper, Zion, great basketball player, right?
Oh, yeah.
He is elite. He is he is able to put together a 65-game NBA season, he's an all-NBA player. He's an all-star player. He's a player who at his peak should be competing for MVPs. And everyone around the league knows that. It's just about, can he put it together from health, from conditioning, from
discipline,
all of the traits that are necessary to be a leader of an NBA franchise. And that's being on time. That's being the first person in every room. That's being the leader in practice. That's everything that we see from guys like LeBron and Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry. And these are traits that even guys like Anthony Edwards, they have to learn and see, but they get there. The biggest thing is people want to get on Luka Doncic for his conditioning and all that. People want to get on, and Edwards, his maturity, things like that. But those guys play, they compete, and they produce at high levels. We just haven't seen that from sustained amount of time. But the NBA is a much better place when Zion Williamson is on the court and he's balling out, because he has the potential to be one of the best players in the league.
Okay, so there's this conversation happening with the Colts too, It takes a little bit to realize the responsibility that is placed upon you as a professional athlete, let alone professional athlete, franchise player. What it means not only to yourself, to your teammates, but to the fans, to the city, to the organization, how you kind of oprate. We've been on this ride with Zion since literally the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, literally since the beginning.
This is the Zion Williamson show, by the way.
I introed Zion in one of his first games that he played down there because I was so upset that the Pelicans didn't intro him last in his debut game. His debut game was on national television. Why? Because it was Zion's debut game, and they had him introed like second or third. I'm like, just give the guy the thing. Just give him the thing. Now, since that moment until now, it has been quite a ride alongside this Zion. He's been paid. He's been given a lot of money. He's performed on the court in a spectacular fashion. The Pelicans have been thought about as maybe a team that could go on a run. The Pelicans have been thought about as a team that maybe needs to sell. The Pelicans have been a team that have held him back. The Pelicans have been a team that have promoted him. It's been a wild relationship. And now he has a Naruto tattoo around his belly button. Swag. And we thought this was going to be his best go. And now he's done for the season again. There will be a lot of teams that would want to trade for him. Is that how this would go this offseason?
Yeah, but do you really want to trade a guy that just hasn't, it's also like you want to trade a guy at his peak value, right? So what is really his value right now? And there are teams that will trade for him. A bunch of teams will trade for him. If the Pelicans said today, our goal and our mission is to trade Zion Williamson, they can get a pretty darn solid package. But the goal for the Pelicans, as it's always been, is how do we win? The last thing you want to do is trade Zion Williamson to wherever, LA or New York or this team, Miami, wherever, and he just skyrockets because he's able to find health. He's able to find that maturity, find that growth in his career. They want that to come in New Orleans. But I do believe, and people around the league do believe, both sides have to come together this summer and figure out exactly what that's going to look like. Because how it's going right now, it's not going to be sustainable for either side.
Figure it out, Dahn.
Good luck.
They're not going to. That's kind of the problem. They've done this we've had this exact same conversation with Shams the last 4 years. These guys really need to get together this offseason and kind of figure out how we're going to do this moving forward. It's guess what?
This summer,
it ain't gonna fucking work.
The Pelicans
it's not going
decisions.
to, Shams.
As an organization, they have decisions that they're going to have to make. We talk about the Suns evaluating everything. The Pelicans are going to be in the same boat. They have to look at everything with the season that they just had.
And you just have to swallow that pill and be like, hey, we know, we're going to trade him to the Knicks. And then all of a sudden he's going to be weighing 230. And he's going to be excited about life again. That's how it goes. He doesn't want to be here anymore.
Well, and also, to Zion's And he said it this year for the first time ever. I want to play. They will not let me play. Because over the last 4 years, however long it's been. Now, is he telling anybody he wants to play? Like, is he forced himself on the court? Is a whole other conversation. But in years past, it appeared as if he would be healthy enough to play. But the Pelicans are like, he's not ready yet.
He hasn't done 2-on-2.
He's not ready yet. We need to do 3-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-3, 4-on-4, 5-on-4, 5-on-5, 5-on-1, 5-on-2. Like, it was just always something coming out of your mouth from the Pelicans organization on why we can't get this guy on the court for the games. Like, well, he needs to get in better shape. It's like, well, what better way to get in better shape than to play in these games? They were looking out for him. Now he has a bone bruise in his back. Like, all right. Zion, let's go, Pelicans. Zion.
Come on now.
We need you. He's electrifying.
Big time.
Without a doubt.
Awesome to watch.
Maybe.
Have him come play for the Pacers. Now, speaking of health, there is a much more serious convo taking place. Go ahead, Tone. Yeah, the Pacers. Have him come play for the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, I mean, you
Zion, Indiana, alongside.
That's not the spot.
Sure you want him?
That would be
not the
lethal.
city for Zion.
You sure you want him?
Not in this city. What are we talking about?
Every menu is just deep fried thing after deep fried thing.
You want him at the Indiana?
You're talking about Buca de Beppo. There's a Buca de Beppo down there in New Orleans as well. Which
I mean, Hallie would make life amazing for a guy like that.
Yeah,
so I'm just looking for
Zion, Indiana.
Zion walks into one Fazzolini's and he's not leaving without a bucket of breadsticks, piping hot.
Yeah, but Coach Carlisle will have him on that court the next day.
Sure. Yeah.
I hope you had fun with your Italian at Buca de Beppo and Fazzolini's and all the other fast food joints that test in Indiana.
Bingo.
Which is accurate.
Yeah.
We have every fast food chain in America in Indianapolis, Indiana, because I think we are a test city. Hey, if those
fucking fatsos in the Midwest love it, everyone will.
That's kind of what it feels like.
It is.
Yeah. So maybe you're right. Maybe
the number he would.
Where do you want him to go then? Where do you want Zion to go to?
Look, and I don't want to sound like a homer, but I think he'd be great in both.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about more health stuff. Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, let's
Sean.
talk about a team that could play the Pacers in the playoffs. They are the 6th seed in the East right now. The Milwaukee Bucks, one game behind the Detroit Pistons. Dame Lillard, I believe it was last week that came out that he has blood clots in his right calf. I believe deep vein thrombosis is the term to be exact. Do we have any updates on Dame? Is there a chance that he gets back this season? Because I know he's out indefinitely.
Yeah, there is a chance. There's optimism, and with blood clots, usually it's an extended absence, it's a months-long absence. But I'm told his treatment started early. They identified kind of what it was. They started him on treatment. Then they finally got the diagnosis back. He's having doctor appointments every single week to gauge how that blood clot looks in that calf. My understanding is doctors are encouraged by where it's at. They see that blood clot is actually lowering. It's decreasing. It's diminishing. And he's doing some light workouts right now. He's hopeful to get cleared here in the next week and a half to go full go contact and then resume basketball and play in games for the Milwaukee Bucks. So that is good news, though. The doctors are going in. They're seeing that blood clot is actually diminishing in his right calf. We'll see if he's going to be able to make it back. That's going to be a fluid situation, but a lot of pressure. It is Dame time in Milwaukee right now. A lot of pressure on that organization and how they can compete. How can they win in the playoffs? Can they get by in the first round? They've been losing in the first round the last few years. And when you have a team with Giannis Antetokounmpo, Damian Lillard, 2 top 75 all-time greatest players, with Doc Rivers as your coach on a 4-year, $40 million deal, that's just not going to cut it. And we know Giannis has come out. He has said, I want to be somewhere where we're pursuing championships. I'm told every summer he's going to look at where am I going to get the best long-term sustained winning. Will that be in Milwaukee? We'll see.
Okay, last question from me because you brought up Giannis and everything like that. We didn't see. Did Shams say anything about what LeBron said? I didn't.
Radio silent.
It was radio silent.
Do you think Giannis could score 250 points in a game in the 1970s or no?
That's a lot of points. I mean, at some point, there's got to be some hard fouls given. There's got 250. What are we talking? We're talking like a 270, 270 to like 200-point game. Like, what are we talking about?
I mean, so now you'd be saying that Giannis is not going to be on a defensive end as well. So I don't know. I've been watching a lot of 1970s film. I'm hearing a lot of people talk about the All-Stars and the Hall of Famers from the 1970s, but the league was a lot of teams, right?
Yeah, a lot of teams.
I don't think LeBron ever said against a team of All-Stars from the 1970s. Just said in a game in the 1970s.
250 is a lot.
We'll see.
I will say that interview, Pat, I've never seen LeBron James give an interview like that before and talk the way he's talked, and it was refreshing to see.
I agree. That was so cool. And we assume you were a part of putting in positive words for him to come join us, just like we told Rich, and I assume there was many others that were like telling him that we would. I think he watches the show, though, so what up, Ron? And would like to let him know, ever since then, only shoes I'm wearing, bronze. Okay? Only wearing bronze. It's the least I could do. It's the least I could do for what he did for us. We appreciate the hell out of you, Shams. Thank you for joining us. Anything else we should chat about?
We talked about, we got to say, Nikola Jokic, what he did last night, 61 points, that triple-double. This stat line is crazy. I know everyone saying Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is running away with MVP. I mean, everyone around the league believes he's going to end up winning MVP, but Jokic is doing, everyone says all he wants to do is hang out with his horses. Clearly, he loves the game of basketball. Clearly, he's devoted to the game of basketball, and I actually believe his confidence with the game, he came in as a unheralded second-round pick. I don't know where he got the confidence to do what he's doing right now, becoming one of the best players potentially of all time. He reminds me a lot of Tim Duncan, too, how calm he is, stoic he is. He doesn't care about media. He doesn't care about attention. He just wants to dominate, win championships, and I guess chill with his horses.
How about the other day where he takes a Euro step?
Crazy.
Oh, man.
Throws at
and just flicks in a three.
It's not a three.
It's insane.
Was 3/4 of the court.
Yeah. Three-quarters court three. Yeah.
And then they start, and then people are like, did you see this one? He did that shit before.
Oh, yeah.
It's like this, and it's just like Luka. When we watch Luka just throw it at the hoop, it's like, oh, it's very clear all these dudes did growing up was just get buckets. Yeah. Like that is very, dribble probably by themselves.
Real
wherever.
Gym rat. Talking about Durant, like he didn't like the sound of the swish. Like there's a legit gym. And the thing I love about Joker too is like he plays. Like I think he subbed in like midway through the second quarter yesterday and played the whole
40 straight.
Didn't come out of the game. So I love that about him. Just a dog to show up every night.
We appreciate the hell out of you, Sean.
Just a dog.
The
Appreciate
association's
you
in a
guys.
good spot. As are you, ladies and gentlemen. Sham Sharania. Yeah, that Euro step. Awesome. Splash, and then just walks off.
Yeah, he's so good.
Just no emotions at all. Just see you later. I love, they talk about Barry Sanders scored a touchdown, gave the ball a ref, walked away.
Yep.
It's like, I appreciate that Barry Sanders did that. Barry Sanders scored a lot of touchdowns, So I assume at one point it did just become kind of routine to do that. Joker's never had any outer moxie.
No.
Something great happens, nothing. Remember, they won the championship, and he was pissed that they had a parade.
Yeah.
And then he found out about the parade. He goes, I didn't know I want parade. Yeah. Now I do parade. I want parade. Yeah. And he's hammered, drunk in front of the crowd. It's like, that's the most we've ever seen him seemingly enjoy himself. First day of media day, whenever teams have to report, just moping in, shoes untied, sitting down, watching his horses finish a race in another country. And like, you got to go take photos. Okay. Go take the pictures. And then just what? From game one all the way through game 82, just absurd insanity, highlight reel after highlight reel for that Denver team. And not one time do you ever hear him go like, who can do that? Nobody else other than me. Not once.
No.
And it's like, that's a good thing because you have a humble superstar. I think the bad thing is nobody really knows he exists, because he is story number 4 in the West Coast. He should be number 1. This guy's unbelievable.
Yeah, and what's sweet is that he's an absolute dog. Like all the cut-ups of him talking shit, like if someone were to bump him or anything like that, like, no, he's turning around and he is looking down on that guy. And, of course, we all remember the Markieff Morris, shove from behind. That was electric.
Yeah, and then we were introduced to his brothers.
Yep.
All right, we'll be back in the next hour. We can't thank you enough. Trey Hendrickson will join us. We'll see you then. Goodbye. Belle Sessions, who got here at 3 a.m. this morning, was the winner. Her ticket was pulled, and you thought to yourself immediately, what, Belle?
I knew I couldn't do it, and he was next to me, and he said that he could, so we're splitting it.
Okay, so Belle Sessions made the decision to talk to my man, Henry Silver, who Henry got here yesterday. yesterday at 6 p.m. He's been waiting for this moment. Now, Henry, you told her that you could make it. Why do you think that's the case? Have you ever kicked a ball before?
I've kicked a ball before. I've played soccer my whole life. I think I can do it.
This kick is for $150,000. You said you would split it in half, right? Okay, so let's make it $200,000. If you make it, you will both get $100,000. Where are you from, Henry?
I'm from Fishers, Indiana.
Who's your favorite NFL team?
The Colts?
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Come on, bro. Hell yeah. To hell with the Falcons. That was rude. They didn't deserve that. I like that. Henry, 33 yards, $100,000 for you, $100,000 for her, $200,000 to hurricane relief, $400,000 on the line. Henry, are you ready?
Of course.
Have you ever said anything bad about kickers?
Of course.
Shut up. Let's go. Now, here in Athens, Georgia, it would be beautiful if $400,000 would be up for grabs. Why don't we double it because the Georgia Bulldogs. So, $800,000 kick right here, Henry. But what I want to let you know is you're not getting a second opportunity. I don't care if this entire place starts chanting for a second kick. One kick, 800,000 racks, 400,000 to hurricane relief, 400,000 to you two split, 200 grand each. Henry Silver from Indiana for Bell Sessions. Let's go, Henry! Oh my! Henry! Henry! Come in, buddy! Come in! Let me see this, Henry! That was amazing. I mean, he walked in like, Henry! Congratulations, Henry! Congratulations, Bill! Dude! Congratulations, Georgia! What a morning! College game day's the greatest. College football's amazing. Bill, you just won $200,000. You're a genius.
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey,
What?
let's go.
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You pink.
Damn it! Your friend tell a friend something nice could change their life. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Big News Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. Hour 2 of the program starts now. Sports are happening all around us. We're incredibly lucky that we get to talk about it every single day. It's not just me, obviously. The Toxic Table's here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. One half of the Hammer Dahn, baseball cap boys. Tone Diggs is here. You look fantastic.
Thank you.
9-year NFL vet, host of Everything DB, Good D, Bad D, Dairy State Ballers.
Yes, sir.
Pretty much.
That's a cool onesie. That's a cool onesie.
Bodysuit.
That is a very cool. Do you
Sweatsuit.
Yeah, you look very cool. You look very
You
sweet.
too. I like that blue.
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, thank you. You know, I don't like the tightness at the bottom.
Sure.
These things. By the end of the show, I'll probably be cutting
it's good.
the sides of
Nah,
it.
don't cut that shit. It's
good
good.
look.
Yeah, I don't like when it rides up, especially when you're built like Spark Plug, which was going to lead to me saying this. The way Foxy's built, he's built like a mannequin. You know, he's built like a mannequin. So he can walk into a store, whatever's on the mannequin, Foxy, give me that mannequin, and I'll take that mannequin as well.
That's exactly what I do.
Bingo. That is Foxy's build.
move.
Foxy can lift every morning for 2 hours, and he could also eat every morning for 3 hours, and it's not going to change anything. That is how Foxy is built. He's an H&M mannequin.
100%.
So he looks super cool all the time.
Wow.
You Different build than Foxy, but certainly can wear anything that's in any of the magazines because of how ripped and jacked you are. Even if you have, I don't know, 6-7 flapjacks every single morning. Or French toast after the show or whatever the case.
Every once in a while.
So
Cheat day.
I appreciate you. Every day is a cheat day, seemingly.
No.
And it's okay.
It's like the hot chief here and there.
Okay. Whoa.
Oh, wait.
I don't want to disrespect. I don't want to disrespect anybody. But I appreciate you taking advantage of the fact that you can dress as cool as you could dress. You know, the way you're built. You can wear tight hoodie, onesie, and it looks so cool. I put that thing on. That thing's riding up to here. That thing's doing the entire science. So I just want to let you know. Every time I say you look cool, I mean it.
I appreciate
you look
it.
very cool.
I appreciate that. Haven't worn a onesie yet, but
that is a onesie.
Yeah, you get it.
Actually, I lied. The day we were, where were we? One of the games we were standing next to.
the Top Gun suit.
Yeah,
flight
so that
suit.
was
That was a onesie.
That was the first time.
It was a uniform.
What's that?
Rest in peace.
Iceman
Val Kilmer.
Yeah, actually, joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, a college football national champion, Super Bowl champion, Ryder Cup winner, AJ Hawk. AJ, we're about to have a moment of silence for Val Kilmer. I very much understood that you would want to be a part of that, so let's do that now. Thank you for your service to society and providing entertainment and being an actual badass. You know, in the moment between he and Tom and Maverick, Top Gun, obviously very emotional and everything like that. Val Kilmer has passed away. Moment of silence. Moments pass. Rest in peace.
And with death comes new life, you know. Glenn Powell and Sidney Sweeney are knocking boots, as they say. That's just
We're not getting into that. We're not getting into that.
Allegedly?
Now it's not. No way. No way, brother.
That being lunch.
No way. That is nowhere near where. But I did see she potentially called off her wedding.
Call Glenn. They were spotted eating lunch together. Might as well call them.
I kind of assume they always were. They have been together. I know they didn't move together, but it seems like they've been together.
Yeah, we're not getting into it. We are not getting into it.
I'm not saying they are.
It's the number one trend in the fucking world. Okay, we will not allude to it or talk about it. Okay. Now, Glenn Powell is maybe the most handsome human these eyes.
By far.
Have ever seen.
He's ripped.
Jacked, so cool.
Yeah, like football.
Cool, man.
Funny,
so
charming.
Got so much moxie.
Hung like a horse.
All right, see, you're talking about his work ethic is that of a horse. He is a workhorse. Yeah, that's what you're talking about. He has like 6 movies out right now. I understand what you're saying.
I mean, if you can,
but every time you chase it, every time we've been around him, there's an aura of like, wow, what is this?
He's magnetic.
He is. That's why he's the next big movie star. Already a big movie star.
That's right.
And if he has found happiness in his personal life, we are happy for him.
Absolutely.
Which
we did not make up.
No, tabloids are running with that right now.
Sure looks like he's found more than happiness.
All right.
Shout out Val.
Ladies, what's that?
Shout out Val.
Yeah. Shout out Val. Shout out Val. Shout out Val for everything you did. Rest in peace. And congrats to Glenn Powell on all the success as well. And looking in the mirror and seeing that.
Yeah, cool. Without a doubt.
That has to be so cool. Like, he's going to be Chad Powers, right?
Yes.
And they had to put makeup on and make him look terrible.
That's the last time he's ever going to do that.
That was probably so much fun for him to look in the mirror and be like, ooh. And then walk away, you know. He's one of those guys that has never, has no idea what a filter is on a photo. Always want to take a picture with that guy on your phone, not his. You know, because there's nothing to be changed there, brother.
Sure, no.
I mean, never will be. That guy's unbelievable. Speaking of change, you know, that Drive to Survive changed a lot of people's lives via Netflix. It was some of the greatest content that we have seen in the sports world. It actually took a sport that's tough to be a fan of and made it a sport that a lot of people are a fan of. Ain't that correct, Dave?
Oh, yeah. I cannot wait for the Japanese Grand Prix this week.
Okay, exactly. Drive to Survive introduced Darius Butler to not only the sport of F1, but also the people behind it. You've seen this in many other sports now, and the newest sport is about to be released on April 22nd, 2025 on Netflix. You'll be able to see Race for the Crown, which is coming to Netflix now, a world premiere of their teaser.
You gotta be wired a little bit differently to hop on top of a 1,000-pound animal and run 40 miles per hour with an ambulance chasing you. do a very dangerous sport.
American racing revolves around the Triple Crown. There are trainers, jockeys, and the owners.
There is unbelievable money in this game.
I just forced my way in. And I'm not leaving.
Some people look at us like we've lost our minds. Micropoli spends $20+ million a year on horses.
We're in your little Twitter feed.
Just Mike's loud mouth that I get tired of.
Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah!
I expect trainers to put the horse in the best position to win.
Good horse will take you all over the world. Our part's finding a top horse.
Trainers will be firing one jockey, hiring another. It's cutthroat. There's not much loyalty.
Make me look good, will you?
Cars, motorbikes, you can press the brake. Horse racing, you can't.
See?
I wasn't ready to retire.
Actual race.
I'd rather die on a horse than die of boredom.
If you can win the Triple Crown, you're in the history books. You're a legend.
Tough trip right there. Obviously, the prize money is huge. And there's a chance for the world to see who's really the best.
All right, congratulations.
Good trailer.
That's going to be good. So obviously, as you saw there, you'll meet all the big personalities that drive the sport. Everybody from the trainers and the jockeys to the owners. The series will offer an inside look at the high-stakes quest to win across the prestigious Triple Crown. Congratulations to them.
Wow.
I assume that's going to make more fans. And if you're just a reality show fan, looks like we're getting access. So I saw Private Plane. I think I saw a couple Bugattis out there. I saw some drama. I saw some Twitter accounts. Saw some memes. And then I heard a jockey say, what? Yeah, I'd rather die out here than anywhere else. Go ahead and strap me onto a horse and let me run this thing. So I'm pumped up about it. I think it's going to be good, AJ.
Yeah, I mean, that trailer definitely has everything you need. You see it looks like they have characters. If you have characters within a sport, and obviously the horses and jockeys, that's cool, but the owners look like they're the ones that they hopefully focus on a lot. They're feuds, too. I want to see them fight behind the scenes.
Bruce Brown in the back. He is a former horse owner, I do believe, in the horse world, which is a fascinating thing to have him around us, especially whenever he's giving out picks. And, yeah, you know. You know how those. You certainly do. Baffert being in this is a big deal, right? That's the big takeaway from this particular teaser that we should really dive into.
This is going to be awesome. I think it's cool that it's focusing. Obviously, the Kentucky Derby is really popular, but the road to the Derby, there are all these qualifying races where the big ones you get 100 points for first, 50 points for second. Some of the smaller ones, 50 points for first, 25 for second to get into the Derby. But yeah, like you said, Bob Baffert's back from a 3-year suspension for the Kentucky Derby winner, Medina Spirit, being on like anti-inflammatory drugs. Whoa. He has one horse locked into the Derby this year, Citizen Bull. He has another horse, Barnes, who needs to outright win the Santa Anita Derby on Saturday to make it into the Kentucky Derby, and a third horse, Rodriguez, who he shipped to Aqueduct for the Wood Memorial, which Secretariat famously lost. He needs to finish first, second, or third to make it in. So possible that Baffert has at least 3 horses in, maybe 4 horses running in this Kentucky Derby, his first back off of a 3-year suspension.
That was the ass lotion?
It was like an anti-inflammatory drug that
got peed in the hay.
Yeah,
that was that one.
Well, like humans take it for like eczema and stuff, I think, but horses it's for like osteoporosis.
It was a lotion, right? Wasn't it a lotion, if I recall, not an injection, or was?
I believe so. Yeah. So it's like trace amounts were in Medina Spirit's blood.
Okay, I cannot wait to watch that. How's McAfee doing?
McAfee finished 8th at Aqueduct. They were pointing him towards the Wood Memorial this weekend. I don't know if they canceled the plans because of he finished 8th. But I can look into that.
Had a bad. How many?
So they shoot him in the head?
Yeah, you can't have a bad day in horse racing if you're a horse.
Yeah,
McAfee earned a bad day.
I don't know. It sounds like they were going to run him next weekend.
It was tough to make excuses for him. It wasn't that hard of a trip or anything.
I hope they show that.
Never really fired.
What do you mean never really fired? right, there was a lot of. I don't know if that's going to be on the entirety of it all, but obviously with horse racing does come some horses passing.
Sure.
In the past, I think a little bit quicker and louder than maybe in the current present, but that is a real thing. I do wonder if they'll cover that because that is a big talking point of people that are not in the horse racing world. For instance, everybody in here, their first slot. Whenever we heard McAfee got an 8th and was supposed to run and they're no longer running them, everybody's first thought that is not in the horse racing world immediately is like, moment of silence for McAfee.
Yeah. It's going to be John McAfee.
That's the first thought. But instead, Bruce, isn't it different now in 2025? And do you think they will address that during this entire thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's 2.5, 3 years old, so he's certainly not going to just end his career because he finished 8th trying to get to the Kentucky Derby.
He had a good run.
That's an early exit.
What's
from
time we going to give this kid?
Anyways, we'll see if they cover that, but they need to know that is the first thought that everybody has. Bruce, your amount of knowledge there was phenomenal.
Yeah, that'd be Bruce.
That was really good.
Yeah, so during COVID, when there were no sports, I got really into the road to the Derby, and it actually is awesome. Like the qualifiers and like all the horses on the bubble. Baffert finding himself on the bubble here is interesting because like he would normally never have a horse in the Wood Memorial at Aqueduct. He's a California trainer, but because he has 3 and he needs the points to get him in, he had to ship him to Aqueduct and ship the jockey and everything across the country as well.
Co-executive producers Tim Stamper and Jordan Bogdanovich from Box to Box are making this. Good luck.
Yeah,
to the
brother.
team.
Another cool thing would be like not watching it. I bet AJ would like to, but like the stud fees of all the horses that actually win.
I bet that is addressed in there.
I'm sure.
I bet that is addressed in there because that's a massive part of the business. You get a horse that wins. Oh, Mike, who's also funding the St. John's team, and also that Mike guy. He's with Tom, right? With
I think so. Yeah, the Pellegrino guy,
Mike Rapoli.
Yeah, Body Armor, right?
Body Armor, and I think he's doing some stuff with Tom.
Yeah,
Noble.
There it is. He's done that whole thing. So he spends that $20 million a year, or whatever. It's like a scratch off. Like you're trying to hit because if you hit, then all of a sudden you're literally collecting cash off of every single load
forever
from that particular horse. So interesting game. I tried to follow along with it. AJ, you're at the Kentucky Derby every single year, noted publicly. It's like, I don't know how much you know about the horse racing business. Feel like we're going to learn a lot, and it feels like we're going to hit more bets because of this. So thank you to them.
Oh, we're going to learn a lot. I don't know much. People love to claim like they know a lot and they can handicap it and they can tell you what's going to happen. It seems like it's a tough business to try to be a handicapper in horse racing, but hopefully we get to see Jim Rome a little bit on this series. Do we know? He's a huge horse guy.
Okay, I hope so.
That'd be Francesco.
I hope Jim Rome.
Yeah.
I did not expect Jim Rome to be a big horse guy.
Yes.
Okay, welcome to the jungle. I hope they go over there.
Yep.
Rap Sheet, also massive horse person. Obviously, Portnoy, big horse person. So the amount of people that they could have that go to these races and always are so suited and booted. Maybe AJ Hawk and Aaron Rodgers will find their way in the race for the crown. Speaking of hard jobs, general manager in the NFL is obviously a difficult one. How about if you're going into a place trying to transform it back to its glory days in a brand new city, basically? Las Vegas Raiders general manager John Spytek spoke to NFL's Sirius XM radio down at the owners' meeting and had this to say about their draft pick.
Yeah, my oldest son has made it no secret that if we don't pick Ashton Genty at 6, that he's walking out of the family and he's going to find somebody else, probably whoever takes Ashton. I think he's motivated.
He's a free agent for fandom right now.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, Jack is motivated by fantasy football and touchdowns in fantasy football, not necessarily all of team building. But I love that my son loves the draft process at 10 years old, and maybe he's starting to fall in love with the scouting process. I hate it a little bit too because I know the life that he's signing up for, but the passion that he has. And he walked right into our building and basically told Mark Davis, like, if my dad doesn't take Ashton Genty, he's doing a bad job.
Is he in there? Is he in there buzzing film with you when you're watching Genty?
No, he goes on YouTube and he watches it himself. So
I love it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Jack, those are highlights. You got to watch all the plays.
Complete game.
Yeah, don't be swayed by highlights.
Dahn, you were talking about culture earlier.
Who's your source, by the way?
That's funny.
Your agent.
Okay.
I was also with the same agency, so we have the same agent. You just didn't know that.
All right, Sean.
Okay, so his agent Sean, it sounds like, or the co-host Sean, found out that Spytek's boy really likes what he sees from Ashton Genty, and how could you not after watching what he did at Boise State? But a lot of people are saying this means that's who they're taking or whatever. Remember Shane's boy we saw in Hard Knocks offseason? He was looking for
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels, I believe. You know, kids can have a little differing opinion than, their dad, but right now Team to draft Ashton Genty. Las Vegas Raiders, current odds, plus 100. And is that because of what SpyTech said in that particular interview, or has this always been the eyes-on spot for Ashton?
He has been mocked to the Raiders in literally every single mock that I've seen, whether it's Kuiper or Daniel Jeremiah or Field Yates. It doesn't matter. Like, they just, because they don't have a running back. I don't even know if they have one on the roster. And it just feels like, that would just be the smart place or the easy place just to slot him in a mock draft.
Tom Brady understands the crucial position that is a running back. Ashton Genty was so fun to watch, AJ, in college. So
Did you see his pro day stuff even? Like his pro day and how he moves through the cones and drills? Like, he's so compact. A dude like that is so difficult to tackle. Like, there's no easy way to tackle.
He is absolutely
his little
stacked.
jump cuts, like these jump cuts that he makes, and then he's downhill. Like, good luck getting him down.
Remember, it was week 2. Boise State took on Oregon. It was a tough game for Oregon. Everybody thought, this Oregon team's not good. And then the Boise State team continued to play. It's like, Boise State's real deal. Ashton Genty might be the best player in all of football. I mean, this dude was phenomenal. Obviously, offensive line was good. But then they talk about him as a human. Chuck Pagano lives out there. Chuck Pagano, former member of this program.
Trader.
That's Pittsburgh Steelers fan Tone Diggs' thoughts, not mine. He's back in coaching with the Ravens. He lives in Boise, and he was talking about how the year before this past season, obviously, he was the guy. The year before that, he was still the best player in football, and a lot of people wanted him. And all he wanted to do was finish the job with his Boise State teammates. Obviously, they had to pay him to keep him there in the NIL world, but the way he treats everybody, they talk about him just being a certified pro day one you get in there. If you got somebody like that, definitely draft him. It's like if you knew Adam Vinatieri was going to have a 25-year career the way that he did, and you took him in the first round. How would you feel about that? At the time, you'd look like an idiot.
Yeah.
And then if he had a 25-year career of being the guy, people would be like, not a bad investment. If you know Ashton Genty is a pro off the field, which is what everybody says, and you can tell by his film he's going to be able to run the ball, and we're in the world where running the ball matters more now than ever, why not Ashton Genty in the first round early? And I hope it happens for him. By all accounts, everybody loves him.
Well, and everyone having him go to the Raiders, it feels like almost makes you think that he's not going to the Raiders. Like that's where I'm at in the entire draft process thought. But especially with Russell Wilson, you go into the Giants, that feels like all of a sudden if Shadur is available at a 4, because obviously the Jags and the Patriots are at 4 and 5, and they're not taking a quarterback. And Brady, has talked a lot about having a young quarterback sit behind a veteran quarterback to learn a bunch. And I'm not sure if Geno Smith has signed a big extension with the Raiders or what his contract looks like, but that Shadur Raiders connection feels like that might start to gain a little traction as we get closer if he's going to be available.
The draft is so unpredictable.
It's the best.
It's so unpredictable.
It's crazy, man.
Season.
Hey, so is free agency. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now, friend of the program, currently the reigning sack king of the NFL. Obviously, he's a third rounder from FAU back in the day. He's an all-pro, 4-time Pro Bowler. He's played for the Saints and the Bengals. He's going into year 9. And I do believe this morning he was ripping some lips out there at sea. Ladies and gentlemen, Trey Hendricks.
Hey, how you guys doing? Appreciate you having me.
Hey, before we get into the football talk, we have this photo that you sent me from this morning. What type of fish is that, and how many of these did we pull out of the water this morning?
Oh, that's a redfish. We were pulling them out as fast as we could reel them in. It was a great day, beautiful morning in Jacksonville, Florida, so I'm incredibly blessed.
Redfish? What color blind? We're just naming fish now?
Because the fish ain't red.
Yeah, because like the fruit, the orange. That makes sense.
It's orange.
Because it is orange, you see. Was it a bad lighting? Is the fish normally red?
Oh, thank God it's not my job. But yeah, no, it's a red drum. It was a heck of a fight, and it was so fun to reel in. So we'll have to get out there sometime because it's incredible.
Are you out at sea there, or are we close? Am I getting seasick while this is happening?
No, I pulled back in the driveway about 20 minutes ago, so it was a full day out there. My buddy Pat took me out, and it was amazing. So
good Irish lad taking you out there, getting you a little red blue bowl of fish. That is that's good morning.
Yeah.
Congrats to you on getting the big fish.
Yeah.
Congrats to you on
Yeah,
getting the
no
big
doubt.
fish. Now, let's talk about your world that you're in. We haven't spoke to you since Radio Row. Reached out to chit-chat with you because owner of the team that you are currently employed by and play for, Miss Katie Blackburn, who is running the Cincinnati Bengals, had this to say yesterday from the owners' meetings to Kelsey Conway. I think he should be happy at certain rates that maybe he doesn't think he'd be happy at, Blackburn said. I think some of it is on him to be happy at some point, and if he's not, that's what holds it up sometimes. So, it takes him to say yes to something, and also, we have all the respect in the world for him. He's been a great player. We're happy to have him, and so maybe we'll find a way to get something to work. We're just going to see where it goes. And then I think she reiterated a fact about, I don't know what's going to happen here. We didn't think they were going to be able to get the T. Higgins and Jamar Chase deals done. Obviously, your deal was being lumped in there because you're a defensive end, you're the sack king, and you are due money as well. So whenever you hear that from the ownership, what do you think immediately? Did you know that she said that? And what is currently happening at this time with you as a Cincinnati Bengal, Trey?
Well, first off, yesterday was April Fool's, so I was traded to all 31 teams and had like 100 different contracts. So the one thing I was hoping that was an April Fool's joke was that article, but called my agent, found out it was not, and that was a little disappointing because communication has been poor over the last couple months. That's something that I hold in high regard. They have not communicated with my agent directly. It's been something that's been a little bit frustrating, but again, this is the business of it. I'm incredibly blessed to be in the NFL. And I'm excited to be a Bengal, right? To have a year, right, that I have, remaining on my contract. We can get into that real quick. Last year and the year before, I've been talking about long-term contract, guaranteed money, things like that. And it was discussed with me in a meeting, which I'm very fortunate to have had with my agent, that we would get something done this year. So that being said, last year, go out and play to the level you have, we'll get it done. That was communicated with me. So that basically, this year is going to get worked on. They also reiterated that at the combine. So that just kind of clears the air on that. And moving forward, the happiness of my camp, they are more than welcome to call me. I've had my cell phone, same cell phone number since high school. Open line of communication is always open with me and my agent. So if they have anything they'd like to discuss, we've been nothing but willing to listen.
Okay, so you hit on a lot there, and thank you for doing that. Obviously, sounds like you love the Bengals, just like you reiterated at Radio Row. Now, what you said there has been not a lot of communication. What do you mean by that? Because I think a lot of us would assume after the T and Jamar deal get done, and then they're saying they're hoping for a clean sweep with Trey Hendrickson, I believe was reported by multiple insiders. We assumed that I was moving to you to get your deal done. When was the last time? Are you guys currently in the middle of negotiation or conversation, or how does it stand in that particular aspect?
Well, I mean, whenever we have something to resolve in my family, my wife and I, we discuss it and we get to a point where we know we're reaching a decision, and I've been open and transparent about however it looks for me in Cincinnati or not. I want the Bengals to benefit from that. And through this process, communication, when I say it's been poor, it's been like here and there, and respect to Jamar and T. I don't want to take anything away from all the great things they've accomplished in their careers. They deserve everything that they've gotten. And no doubt in my mind, they're going to excel in the National Football League. I have a tremendous respect for both of them. But when it comes to my situation, it would have been nice to know, in some ways, like, hey, we're going to put you in the queue. No problem with me. My wife and I try to be as humble as possible as Christ-loving people. So we don't have any desires of being highest paid or first in line. We try to be as patient as possible. But when you have things like OTAs coming and guys like Sam Hubbard, who's a tremendous captain for our team last year, that leaves a vacancy for that. And I'm excited to fill that. But how do we reach that before we get there? And those are the things that matter when you're talking about a Super Bowl. It's in the little things and the little details. So.
Okay, so on that note, D-Bud has a question for you.
Yeah, and I want to be clear. I'm coming from an incredibly biased standpoint as a former Colt and a Colts fan that, I'm sure 31 other teams feel the same way. We want you to get your money, be happy, and be respected. So figure it out. Obviously, you say you're happy to be a Bengal, but with that in mind, you talked about OTAs, mini camp, training camp. We know you're a football player first and foremost, a professional one at that. Do you have a deadline in mind where you want this to be done with, either with the Bengals, or where you reach a point where you say, okay, it's June 1st, whatever, let's get a trade figured out? Do you have a deadline in mind?
Whoa. That's a great question. I think 3 years ago, I began to ask for a long-term contract with guaranteed money. So those deadlines have kind of just all been a blur. I've just been hunting quarterbacks. So at this point, it is what it is. I don't know if I can put a timestamp on it. And that's where, to read what I read yesterday was confusing. Like it's my decision. I would have been willing to sign 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and this year. It was communicated with me that we would get something done this year. And also, it reiterated with Duke's comments at the combine. So I kind of treat it like a house now. So house values have gone up. It's the cost of living, and in some ways, life continues to go forward. And I know I'm a football player. I'm training to be the best Trey Hendrickson I can be. And however that looks, and whatever team, we can address that.
Ripping lips in the morning, doing big-time dips in the afternoon. We're hunting quarterbacks.
Hell yeah.
Around here. We're Trey Hendrickson. And we assumed that, especially after reading that comment from her and then listening to what Duke said at the combine and then listening to you at Radio Row, it's like, okay, this deal is going to get done. It feels like this deal is going to get done, especially with Darius's point where he said, I'm incredibly biased. Like, we at the Colts here, especially with Lou Anarumo, formerly of the Cincinnati Bengals, now defense coordinator, it's like immediately, we need a guy that would be able to. There's a lot of teams that feel that way. I assume the Bengals understand that, so you would think they'd want to get a deal done. Let's hope, communication starts. It's either here or let's go ahead and profit off of how great Trey Hendrickson is. Now, Connor has a question for you, Trey.
Yeah, Trey, New England's another one of those teams. But when Katie Blackburn says, he should be happy at, certain rates, does she mean like a specific rate that they have kind of communicated to you about a possible extension? Or is she talking about the current deal that you are on right now? Like, what do you think she meant when she said, he should be happy at certain rates and some of it, is on you?
Well, full transparency, I'm not going to go into all the details, but there are things that I'm willing to do and willing not to budge on. I don't think I want to play for incentives that will be out of my control. I don't think I want to play for a short-term contract and see where it goes. I would like to tell my wife, here's where we're going to live. Here's where we're going to build a family together. And some of those things come from, what I've been able to do on the football field. I like that to do the talking for me. I stay out of it with all the trade stuff. I stay out of it with all the contract stuff, and really these things that get me to do these things. I would prefer not to address these things with the media. But again, if I'm hearing from X or Twitter or whatever it's called on details on my contract that aren't privy to me, or happiness that I'm not feeling under certain situations, it's. You can say respect, but, respect is something that I have for Zach Taylor, and I take that approach every day, being on time, communicating with him, and telling him that, yes, sir, I'm going to do the right things and all those things. And there's a mutual respect, just to say the word respect, and then actions are speaking a lot louder in a different direction. It's disappointing.
Okay, so as you know, as somebody who has been in the NFL a long time, Haslam turned down a meeting with Myles Garrett 3 weeks ago, and then they gave him $40 million. And, Daniil Hunter gets a deal done, and TJ Watt and Micah and you are all on the board. So it feels like that's an easy deal to kind of get done. And if I were you, as the Sack King, looking around at these other deals that are taking place, multiple years left on contracts, I don't even know if these guys have been promised, hey, we'll take care of it next offseason. Like you were saying, you were sitting in a meeting and were promised. Feels like an easy deal to get done. And you saying, I would like to have, not an incentive-based contract that is out of my control. Those are team-based deals or whatever the case is. Who knows what's going to happen there? You've earned the right to have that. And also to be able to tell your wife, hey, we're going to be here for at least the next 5 years. This is probably it for us. This is the last big contract. You've earned that right as well. So I don't think you're out of pocket for saying any of these things. And the Bengals understand that as well. It just feels like maybe there needs to be a little bit of a nudge in this entire situation of either sign or let him go blossom in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Beautiful lakes.
Or Green Bay.
Or New England.
There's good fishing out here in Indiana. AJ has a question for you, Trey.
Yeah, Trey, have you guys, over the course of this time, whenever, like you said, for 3 years, you've been trying to work on this, you thought something would get done. Has there been an outline of a deal ever out there? Like, how close have you guys gotten? How far have you kicked that can down the road as far as what it may look like if you do get a contract from Cincinnati?
Well, like I said, my wife and I, one of the primary apps I use on my phone is Zillow. So it's a good comparison, right? So 3 years ago, it was the Rashawn Gary and the Montez Sweats. Those guys were balling out. And then the next year, it was the Brian Burns and the Josh Allen deals. And it was like, they were balling. And now it's getting to the point where guys with 2 years left on their deals, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, guys with 1 year left on their deal, Danielle Hunter, myself, and TJ, and obviously Micah Parsons. He's an incredible athlete as well. Like, I just see that that's the street, right? We're on the D-end National Football League street. The market value for that is going up like it did for wide receiver last year. And where I fit in that road is all up to discretion and things like that. So we're willing to talk about those things, but with the market continuing to go up, I'm not going to apologize for that, because I've been basically asking for the same thing every year, to be solidified as a Cincinnati Bengal for life.
Yeah, and you say you don't want to talk about where you live on that particular street. You're at the end of the cul-de-sac, brother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're at the end of the cul-de-sac. That's the Sack King. That's the Sack King. But he's got that baby face.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
He's got that baby face. And he's normally super quiet. Mm-hmm. We'll read X, though, it sounds like. He will, yeah. Uh-huh. I will understand what's going on around
My dad a little bit more than me, but yeah, he sends me all the things I need to be up to date with.
You said your dad?
Yeah, my dad dabbles. I'm trying to get him off the phones, but it is what it is.
That's awesome.
Beast.
My mom had to delete the Twitter X app from her phone because she was living on there. And anytime anybody said something about me, she wanted to come out. She was like, I don't want to embarrass anybody. Okay, I've been told I'm not allowed to respond. So she deleted the entire app. Had to. And
I'm going to have my dad delete it here soon. I'm telling you, it's getting.
Tim McAfee won't delete the app. And I know that Tim McAfee has certainly had a bunch typed up, and then for one reason or another, I'm not going to send it. Not going to send it, I guess. Not today. It's tough, especially when, and that's why nonetheless, your dad being like, did you hear what the Bengals said today? They respect you. That's a funny little narrative in this entire thing. Ty has the last question for you here, Trey. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, Trey, I know you said you don't really want to speculate and you haven't got into much about a trade stuff, but you told us at Radio Row, hey, if nothing is able to get worked out, I love Cincinnati. I want the Bengals to be able to benefit from this, whether that's draft picks or whatever the case may be. With the draft being about 3 weeks away, do you get any inclination that if nothing is able to get done, that a pre-draft trade is possible? Or has it been one of those things because there has been so limited communication that you still really have no idea on that front either?
Well, you hit the nail on the head on one of those points, and that's I have prepared my family for if we're not there, is that something we're willing to do, and my wife has been so great, and she's so supportive that whatever it looks like, the Lord will guide us and where we're supposed to go. So it's an interesting dilemma. This is a very unique experience for me and my family, but at the end of the day, we're incredibly blessed to be in a situation where we're talking about leading the league in sacks and achieving goals that I've set for myself a long time ago. All these guys that we've been talking about today are all 30 years old. I think there's a new era of players and taking care of your body that'll go far into that. So, it's one of those things, we're not going to complain about it if we have to play wherever. I personally would love to be in Cincinnati. They got the best fans and obviously the best zoo. So
it is good zoo over here.
Mm-hmm.
They got good casino there too. I think casino's a winning casino.
Ooh.
I think so. I think it's.
I might feel in New Orleans. I stay out of it.
No, the New Orleans casino.
It used to be.
Last time you told me about a winning casino.
New Orleans understood the assignment. It's a Super Bowl. Everybody's coming here. They flipped the switch off. Okay, they said this one's for us.
Also, it changed names.
It did.
Yeah, got new ownership.
Different casino.
Yeah, I don't think anything. Hey, before we get out of here, Trey, we can't thank you enough for taking time. You want to say a quick prayer for us here, for the boys?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go, Trey.
Finally, Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for all the opportunities we have in time of fellowship and to glorify you. Strengthen us in our time of need. continue the good work that you started within all of us, and obviously to glorify you with the platform that we have. And today it's this show. To you be the glory, honor, and power forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. And also,
Thanks, fellas.
get Trey paid, God. All right, see you, Trey.
All right, Trey.
Yeah, see you, man. I didn't, I'm not a big prayer guy, but I didn't know if we were dropping in also with like a 3 to 4 year.
Yeah. $40 million a year.
I think because we don't want to pray for wins because
God willing, we shall.
God willing, we shall.
Sure.
That's Coach Romito. That was his bar, Friday night football, high school. One of the first times I've ever really been around prayer is whenever I get into the football world. And there's prayers before the game, there's prayers after the game. It's like, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy, the whole thing. Like, this is my first time really getting into it. And Coach Romito would lead a prayer on these Friday nights before high school football. And that's my first time in a gathered prayer. And I heard him drop that bar out of nowhere. We don't pray for victory because God willing we shall. And I was like, smart, but at least put it in God's ear. Yep. Like, hey,
help us here. He started every single one with that.
Yeah,
pray not for winning because God willing we shall.
Bingo. That was like the first thing I heard. I'm like, smart. Just a little reminder. Like, if you are operating in this game, we would like a little bit of a sway to, because we know they're praying over there too. But I don't know if they're mentioned. How about a dub? I hope it gets worked out with Trey.
It won't with Cincy. But I hope it does with a different team.
That is crazy, AJ, because he said there was obviously 31 teams that traded for him April Fools. Every team's accounts on X are like, this just in, Trey Hendrickson traded for a number 2 overall pick or a second-round pick. I'm sure his dad saw a lot of those, because April Fools, wow, what a time on the internet. And then the thought of her saying, this guy needs to just shut it, basically.
Yeah.
That is a crazy thing to say.
That was wild.
Like, just crazy.
He's a sack king.
Yeah.
That he should be happy. Was she saying he should be happy with the money he has made this far? Is that what she's saying?
This far, and what's offered on the table for him. So that made it sound like there's already something that's good out there. And then he was pretty much like, my wife and I wouldn't just be is to know that we're going to be here, and also that I can earn the money that you are.
Doesn't want to be highest paid, he said.
Yeah, he said I don't need to be the first paid or the highest paid. When he was talking about Jamar and T, it was just like we're very humble, but we are. He is at a point in his business where it's like generation. Like I've earned this.
Yeah,
this
not
is
getting
years.
any younger either.
This is years of this entire thing. He's 30 years old. This is going to be the last big one.
Yeah.
That is what it is.
You keep referring to him as the sack king, which he is, but it's not like it was just a flash in the pan year. Like he just had 1 year where he just popped up contract year or close to a contract year. He's got 16, 17, 18 sacks. Like he's been consistent even from his New Orleans days. So New Orleans days. So he definitely deserves his money. He made it clear he doesn't want a short-term contract. So maybe they offered a shorter-term contract that wasn't near the top of the market. But after talking to him, it kind of sounds like 4 or 5 years. If it's 4 years, probably around that 130, 135 mark. But he deserves his money. I hope he gets it.
A lot of people will pay him.
Yes.
AJ.
No doubt.
Yes. Are you kidding me?
I think the reports were whenever he was potentially being shopped is there was a lot of teams that were calling, and then they were basically being told by the Bengals, like, we're going to need 3 once.
Yeah.
We're going to need, like, almost making it impossible. It's like not negotiating in good faith that was just reports. Once again, we are just telling you what was happening. This is not creating this. This is what people were saying was taking place over there. So it's like, do they revisit that now that the teams, after hearing Trey say, hey, understand that there has not been any really movement here on this situation? Is there now another group of teams that are going to call and say, hey, we're interested in Trey Hendrickson? Does that spur action from the Bengals? Because maybe you forget how great you have it, and then whenever everybody else is kind of calling to tell you, maybe that's a nice reminder of like, let's get this done. Can they get it done with the money that they've given out to who they've given out? Which is why every time it was being reported about the Bengals wanting to do a clean sweep of the big 3, Jamar, T, and Trey Hendrickson, doofuses like us were like, that's not going to be possible. That's not going to be possible. Doofuses like us didn't think that Jamar and T were going to be able to get signed. Once again, because Trey Hendrickson was also going to be available, and they're paying a quarterback. So it's like, that seems like it's not possible. From what we're hearing from Trey is maybe it's not. But also, maybe they get a deal done. Duke has been doing some magic that we didn't think was possible already this offseason.
Well, and the sacks are definitely one thing too, but he played hurt last year, multiple games. It wasn't like he was, making business decisions for himself throughout the year. They were still in it. He was still, playing through injury. So I think the assumption is he's going to get traded, or this is just going to be one of the messiest off-season contract debacle since like Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, well, if he goes and sits out for a year and makes a rap album
in his driveway,
well, it's possible.
Maybe.
Trey Hendrickson, maybe. You saw him ripping lips this morning. Why is that fish the red fish?
Maybe just fish for a year.
Did he eat it, or did he put that thing back?
I think he's catch and release. I think he's catch and release. Remember, he was saying we couldn't, anytime we want air coming out. He said it was just fishing with dynamite. Bum, 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 bum. His friend Pat knew the spot.
That's right.
He had a little radar, little sonar thing, and said all the redfish that aren't red at all are right over here.
Dialed in.
That's a big boy right there.
Yeah, fish.
That's a big.
Good lunch.
He's
Good eats.
Yeah, because Trey is a gigantic human being.
Massive.
So, what an interesting little phenomenon this is, this Trey Hendrickson Cincinnati Bengals. Because they're at the crossroads now. They're at the point of...
Is it because he's quiet, though? Is it like partly that he's not... Is because he's a quiet dude and he doesn't wear gloves and he goes about his business? Is that a reason why there's not more like national uproar over this?
Yeah, and he wanted to explain that, I think, a little bit more whenever he was like, she talks about respect, but like, I respect Zach Taylor. I say, yes, sir. In the meetings, I'm going to go do exactly what I told you I'm going to do, everything like that. I think what he was saying is like, I'm the consummate teammate. I cause no problems. I'm the best in the world what I do. And I think he doesn't love having to come on here. And
definitely not.
I don't think he loves that at all. Like whenever I reached out to him yesterday about this thing, and I'm like, "Hey, does this mean a deal's going to be up or whatever?" He goes, "I would actually like to talk about that." He goes, "I don't enjoy doing this, but I would like to talk about that a little bit from my perspective because nobody's going out to bat for Trey Hendrickson because once again, Trey Hendrickson has a small circle, tight circle. He's not leaking things to insiders. So I think like we provide an opportunity for him to like say his side, but I don't think he likes doing it. I don't think this is." He said, I would have signed a deal 3 years ago. I would have signed a deal last year. I would have already signed a deal. Like, I think he begrudgingly is, like, standing up for himself here. And I think the reason why he's doing it is because, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. But also, the things that just kind of do their job in quiet, you don't really pay attention to. You just take for granted. So I think there's a chance, That's why I think, like, if these other teams start calling in abundance, it's like maybe they're reminded that maybe they took this guy who was a perfect teammate, also a sack king, for granted through this entire thing. And maybe that spurs a little bit of action.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, if he would have taken the Myles Garrett route on this, like, would something have gotten done, a little bit ago where it's like, hey, listen, I understand, but, like, I'm not going to sign that deal with you because they are. They're just like, and because he is so gracious and coming on here and he keeps reiterating like he wants to stay in Cincinnati.
Loves the Bengals.
Exactly. Then they're kind of just like, okay, well, like let's squeeze this guy for everything we can. It certainly seems like that's what they're doing. But you wonder if he would. I mean, remember like at the Super Bowl, Myles Garrett was going on every single show and like reiterating like, I'm not going back to the Browns. I'm not doing that. I want to be traded. And then eventually we see what happens. Like, so who knows? I mean, and obviously he's not going to just change course all of a sudden and go scorched earth and start doing that. But like,
he might
have to. He might have to.
I mean, that's kind of what he, and you'd say you'd love it because we are all fans of players getting paid.
Yeah.
Strictly because we have seen teammates of ours either get hurt and not make the big payday. Now they're coaching high school football when they were maybe 2 plays away from making generational wealth or changing the entire family tree that they have. And we've also seen guys that have hit whenever it's big and they change their entire life in a positive way. So you will very rarely hear a player say, ex-player say, you don't deserve money. Because all of us want everybody to get paid. That is just a matter of fact. But it feels like modern business, you do have to be a prick about it.
Yeah.
Like that seems like what it is. It is a shame. Saquon didn't, right? Saquon deal with Eagles was like the first time we've seen a team be like, you know what? You earned this and give a massive deal.
Giants too, when Saquon was with them.
Yeah, it was complete opposite.
Yeah.
So there's like the exact situation. Giants say, Eagles are like, let's make sure we keep this guy happy. Very rarely is that the case.
Eagles did it with Lane Johnson as well, just did it too.
Did the Chiefs do it with Travis? Remember Travis was like criminally underpaid for a tight end. But yeah, it's still very
I think his contract was up though. I think he came to like I don't think Travis had to do anything like
no. That's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying the Chiefs did it proactively. Like, hey, we need to give you more money because you're outplaying your current.
Yeah, so like it feels like it's an interesting time.
And he talked about, so I feel like he said a lot without particularly saying it, like read between the lines, like when he talked about, I don't want to deal with a bunch of incentives related to the team. Like, you
team
go to the first round, you go to the Super Bowl, AFC Championship, you'll make another 1.5. Like he You know, he's earned more than that. He's earned a long-term deal. So he said a lot of things. And then the point he made about Hubbard leaving. Like, we know how important. The casual fan might not know how important a guy like that leaving the building is, what type of void that is. So if you lose him and you lose Trey, like, that's a huge part of it. And sometimes front offices don't even necessarily see that. So I think that was a great point he made. But like I said, I hope it will get worked out. He will get paid, and it definitely sounds like he wants to be in Cincy. We love players getting paid, especially players like Trey or like a Justin Jefferson or like a guy who they do everything right on and off the field. Those are the guys you want to see get paid and get taken care of when they're playing good ball.
Good for the league, man.
Yes.
When you guys were playing, did they have that, when you outplay your contract? I forget what it's
Player
called.
performance bonus.
Yeah, like Purdy, how Purdy got, $1 million extra bucks, whatever, last year.
DB got an extra $1.25 million.
Yeah, okay. So when you guys were playing, was that part of the league still? Or
Yeah, A.Q. Shipley used to eat.
Okay.
That was like he'd get like a 6-figure check in the middle of March, and it was like, oh my God, I'm alive again.
Now, does that work for players like Trey who are at the top? Or, okay, so even he could.
But, like, so if me and AJ are in the same draft and AJ goes 5, like, let's say he'll get $5 per play, and I go 7th round, and we play the same amount of snaps, I may get $1,500 per play because of where he was drafted and where I was drafted. So Brock Purdy, he made a ton of money because he was Mr. Irrelevant. Now, I don't know how that works once you sign your second deal, or I think
once you sign a deal, I think it's still you don't. Yeah, I don't think Trey's getting a huge player performance.
Okay, yeah. So it's basically for like the undrafted or the late round pick who comes in and starts and plays a bunch of snaps.
Second deal, they don't get him? Is that real?
I don't know. His second deal, though, how much is he's not making league minimum. If he's making league minimum, maybe, I don't know. But I think it still goes off of maybe what your contract is.
I do wonder if, like, those guys at the top are getting screwed. Like Josh Cribbs. Remember Josh Cribbs signed that, like, 10-year deal or something with Cleveland? And the last, like, I forget what it was, 8-year deal or something. His last 4 years, he was criminally underpaid. Like, I wonder if player performance bonus was making up for him, too. Like, yeah, sorry, dude, you got a bad deal. Don't know.
I was saying, I'm looking at the top 5 list here, and it's mostly like late round guys that are young who probably have a lot of smaller contracts than what.
Yeah, small contracts where you make up for it. Can you continue to go down, though, so we can find out if there's any guys that are older that are still getting paid?
There's got 2018 up there getting paid a tackle.
Okay, so that's probably second contract at least. Keep scrolling down if you could. All right, so that's just top 25. So I do wonder if even if you're second, because I think AQ was getting paid. I mean, he was on like his 4th team at the time.
Yeah.
So he was still, but he wasn't making his contract wasn't big.
It was low,
so the player performance is to make up for your low contract. To make up for it. But I do wonder if you're like Sack King and you're grossly underpaid. Sure. If player performance is like, yeah, you deserve a little bit more, bud. You deserve a little bit more. All right, let's talk about some other news happening. Calais Campbell is going back to Arizona for 1 year, where it all began for him. Shout out to Calais. Love him. I got a chance to hang out with him at a few different events, a couple different parties. We were at the Pro Bowl together. Some local news station out in Arizona actually released Calais being, he had a GoPro on his chest at Pro Bowl practice. And there was a good bit of me and Calais talking in that thing because he was magnetic, dude. This is a guy who people love. Huge. His voice indicates that he is huge. Everything about him, he sticks out everywhere he goes. First event I went to that he was at, he's literally in the back of the room, and he has a towel, obviously, because he was sweating his ass off. He had a T-shirt on, and he was 3 feet taller, seemingly, than everybody else that was in there. And I was like, need to make my way back to that guy. That's where I need to get to. Link up with him, meet up with him. All his teammates love him. He, not only on defensive line stuff, obviously, and in the meeting room, special teams, he was a monster because of how big he was, blocking kicks, blocking punts. Hell of a career, and it continues out in Arizona, where he got drafted however many years ago.
Yeah, consummate pro, on and off the field. Walter Payton Man of the Year, Gump, and not many things can get Gump riled up, but he was beside himself when he saw this news of Calais going back to Arizona, because he was one of our best players in Miami.
The Dolphins?
Yeah.
Nobody's even going to talk about him at the Dolphins.
It was one of the Dolphins' best players.
He was our best. He was the only guy who held anybody accountable last year, was Calais Campbell. First guy there when Tyreek got arrested. You know, he played fucking special teams at however old he was, did everything for our team. We needed him back, and now we got nobody. It's great.
It's all right. McDaniel looked like he got it figured out down there with Jay Glazer.
He was holding court.
Huge drink down there.
I didn't like how
apple juice.
Peter was saying Mike was talking.
What do you mean?
That was interesting.
Yeah,
what he
it
did.
was interesting.
Did
What
something with his hand
His
too.
tone was a little weird.
It was weird.
What do you
Didn't
mean?
like that.
His
Really?
mannerisms.
It's interesting.
Because
Like
Vrabel,
what?
he
Can you
was
just
like,
can you
"Oh,
show us?
hell yeah."
Oh, you're saying he
I'm
was
not
trying to
saying
say there's multiple different styles of coaching.
Bingo.
Multiple different styles of communicating. Why doesn't McDaniel just say, you know what? This head coaching thing's cool, maybe at another time, and he come up here to Indianapolis run the offense.
Good.
Why doesn't he?
Okay.
Why doesn't McDaniel do that?
And then what the hell is Steichen doing on the sideline? Just picking his butt?
Well, Steichen is a culture setter.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's a tone setter.
It's a good culture they've built here.
Steichen's only been here for a couple years.
That's right.
He's only had
When will
40
they name a
Same
starter?
amount of time as AR.
What's that, brother?
When will they name a starter in India? Do they have? Will there be a deadline? You think they'll name it at the end of spring?
Thursday, week 1.
Yeah,
OTA,
halftime
week
of
one.
Thursday Night Football, I think.
Transfer portal, brother. They don't want to give anything away.
Smart.
You know?
Got to prepare for two QBs.
It's a real comp.
And they're both lunatics.
I saw Mike Wilbon yesterday say he's going to the transfer portal. He's hoping he's getting picked up by Get Up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wilbon. We might make an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah.
I didn't know you're in the transfer portal, brother. We got a spot for you right there
Yep.
every day. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be
Plus,
very
Get Up
cool.
just got Schrags.
Schrags
He-
crushed it on Get
What
Up.
a get.
Yeah.
Schrags crushed it on Get Up. Crushed it with us. Schrags is Schrags.
All the time.
Okay, so that is, I think people that are just getting introduced to Schrags, there's probably not a lot of people, but anybody that is for him coming in, he is always like what you saw on our show yesterday. He is always presented that way, off camera, on camera, and him on Get Up with Greeny is he's going to do very well, I think, with the ESPN platform.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because he's already in the game. You already know. This is like Shams dropping in and Shams already plugged, already connected. It's like Schrags dialed in everywhere.
He was dying today during first take when Mad Dog was mad about something too. Schrags was just laughing his ass off in the background. It was awesome.
Cackling.
Yeah, cackling big time. He loved it.
Draymond said they were talking. I saw first take talking about Draymond talking about the older generation versus this generation, and I heard Mad Dog say, I don't hear anybody from that generation talking bad about LeBron. I hear LeBron talk about it. It's like, well, you guys all talked for that generation. For a long time, long time about this particular generation. And I love that. Let's not get this twisted. Him with a beard, I thought.
Yeah.
Good look.
Bring back,
Thought he was kind of cooking. But for them to act like there's been no disrespect on this generation, it's like that's literally all it's basically been about this generation since the beginning. I'm not saying it isn't a good form of sports entertainment, but this generation has heard a lot, you know? And people are like, LeBron's bullying people. It's like, guy's been getting buried for 20-some years, like on TV. It's the first time he ever came out. I think it's a good time. It's a good era. We're lucky to be a part of it. We're thankful to be here. We'll continue digitally. See you tomorrow. Oh, geez, that came up out of nowhere.
It was quick.
But that was wild for them.
This will happen forever, though. It's all now. This generation, 20 years from now, they're going to be calling people soft or whatever is going on. Like it will always happen.
Kind of already doing that, I guess.
It's
Yeah.
also
It should be.
It's funny with Carmelo Anthony going in and like this conversation. I forget. I think it was last year. LaMelo Ball's celebration when he hits the three is like this entire thing, which is Carmelo Anthony's, and it was like a TikTok of. When you see this celebration, they're asking like young kids, who do you think of, like Melo or Carmelo Anthony? And all the kids said Melo, talking about LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, they said whenever you hear Melo too, who do you think?
Yes, and they say LaMelo Ball. They don't say Carmelo Anthony. Like that is.
Well, just different eras, brother.
It's insane, man.
It's just different eras.
He's popular.
There's one Melo.
If we do this show for a long time,
Stay mellow.
okay? If we do this show for a long time, I think we should try to remember, that maybe what we saw wasn't always just the greatest of all time.
I don't know.
You think next generation's got a joker coming around with a 61-point triple-double?
LeBron. We saw LeBron, Steph.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, next generation, you suck. Okay, that's basically
Mahomes,
what
Brady.
media has been with this particular generation of basketball players and I guess football players as well. And we respect it. That's what you've done. I mean, Skip made an entire career out of burying LeBron.
Without a doubt.
Like that was legitimately, he was a guy in Dallas, obviously heralded journalist, doing his thing. And you put a mic in front of him and he'd come out and tell you, LeBron sucks. Michael Jordan's the guy.
Rodgers too. I mean, he killed Rodgers for 20 plus years as well. Like,
Skip.
And then he comes out looking fresh as fuck the next day, sits right back down. That microphone's in front of him. LeBron will never be Michael Jordan. And then guess what? He went to bed that night, woke up very early the next morning, He put on some fresh J's very early, did his workout. He's jacked, especially at his age. He sits down. They put a microphone in front of him. LeBron ain't shit, okay? And then put that on repeat. 15 years, 20 years.
Throw the Cowboys in.
Oh, yeah, Cowboys conversation we obviously love. And it's like, hey, that was his profession. He got paid very well to do that. A lot of people watched him do that. But it's like, just to be like, LeBron's bullying people. It's like, this is the first time we've ever heard LeBron be like, fucking enough.
Yep.
Like, that is legit, you know? And obviously, we were a part of it. So we're going to feel a certain way. And I'm only wearing, bronze going forward. Yeah.
Those are sweet.
I mean, people are going to be like that. If you saw,
I found a few pairs that are sweet.
Those are awesome.
I'll tell you what, the Jays have a lot more that are available. And I believe Michael Jordan told his friend on a golf course, LeBron could play in any era. Of course, what, he's 6'9", 280 pounds. If he needs, this is. But I appreciate Jordan saying that, because I assume there's a chance that LeBron and Jordan maybe get a better relationship too after what LeBron said on the program about having respect and appreciating Michael, and he thinks that whenever he's done, he'll obviously chat with him. So hopefully that bridges some doors there as well. But everybody else had the take of, well, he doesn't like you because you'll never be him. And they're like, that generation never said anything about the new generation. That was literally one day after they said, Michael Jordan doesn't like you because you're a bum. It's like, okay, maybe a generation has been spoken for a long time. And now this one's finally at the point where they're like, we deserve some flowers at some point. And I respect and appreciate it. I'm paying a lot more attention to the NBA now than I ever have. You got guys scoring 61 points, going for 52. You got LeBron at the age of 40 doing what he's doing. Luka going bananas in LA. Then you talk about Oklahoma City with SGA. They're how many games ahead in the Western Conference? 12?
13, yeah.
12. 14 games ahead or whatever it is. I mean, they are absolutely dominating. Then in the East, the Cavaliers are doing their thing with the Celtics right behind them. The New York Knicks are in it, which is great for obviously basketball to have Madison Square Garden still in play. And then Tyrese Halliburton, the guy. The NBA just needs to rally around. Leading this Pacers team with Pascal Siakam and the boys to a fourth. It's like basketball's in a good spot right now. And I do appreciate that, LeBron for the first time seemingly ever talked his shit. And we were lucky to be a part of it.
I love it. And I want two things. Who are the betting favorites right now? Is it still the Celtics, I would assume? And then the other part of it is when you're talking about these players, like for whatever reason, most people just, okay. So you got to put down the other guy. That's what people feel like. Because I got a brother he'll be 45 this year. And I talk to Zeke every morning. Every morning, my brother sends in some MJ shit. As soon as we start talking about Steph or Bron, he's going to say, this is the prototype. There will never be another. So, like, when you grow up in certain areas, you see a Michael Jordan, you see a Barry Bonds, you see a Deion Sanders, like,
you experience it.
Once you experience that as a 14, 15, 16-year-old, like no one will ever surpass that regardless of how great they are. So you just got to appreciate the generations. But when you get to comparing, most people are going to put down the other person to prop the other person.
Like LeBron can respect every NBA player that like paved the way and like allowed him to do what he's doing, but like he is unquestionably either the best or the second best player of all time, no matter who you ask. So like he can bust whoever's ass he wants to when he's talking about guys from the 70s or the 60s or the 80s. Like it doesn't matter.
I didn't hear Larry Bird say anything about LeBron. I didn't hear Larry Bird say anything about LeBron.
And that's awesome. Like, that's Mad Dog to a T. We knew exactly what Mad Dog was going to say when this all came out, and that's part of it, too. Like,
did Kareem say anything about LeBron? I didn't hear.
Exactly. It's the best.
And, like, statistically, maybe the next generation won't, but I'm sure there will be another player in the next generation that will say, I mean, we're having the conversation.
Wemby.
Yeah, Wemby, Cooper Flag. Like, we're having the convo with Jokic as, like, hey, Jokic, might be a top 10 player, top 5 player all time, and he only has one title. And for so long, how was it like, hey, LeBron doesn't have the titles, but now we're already going with, Jokic only having one NBA title, but already being in the conversation of all-time greats, which he deserves. But it's like the bar is just going to continue to move when it comes to, like, greatest of all time.
Well, you're saying it isn't. You're saying it's not real.
Oh, no, I'm saying
you're saying they move the goalpost or the hoop, shall we say? If we're talking, they move it whenever it comes to what matters and what doesn't matters.
Oh,
what's real and what isn't real.
No doubt about it.
Interesting, because I thought they were too big and too tough back in the day. Which, once again, I've seen some highlights. Fucking Bill was a problem underneath.
Hard foul.
Yeah.
Kevin McHale. You
LeBron
kidding me?
was 6'9", 250 pounds. Played high school football in Ohio, okay? In Ohio. I assume if his whole life growing up it was a physical sport, LeBron's body would have been okay.
I think he'd have been all right.
I think these would have still just been a little bit more. The guy's a football guy, which is what we learned from the conversation. AJ, he walks in here. Yeah, you forget. He's so fucking big.
He's a monster. He's a monster.
So big, so tall. Almost hit his head off the fucking emergency exit thing on the way in here. It's like they're talking. I'm not getting into it. Talking about giant humans, in the algo.
Yeah.
What else?
Which I actually did look into.
He almost hit his head off that emergency exit right there.
Jeez.
That Stone Cold Steve Austin is to size there on the right side. So just think about that. You literally, and he got out of the black SUV or whatever, and it's all the way. The back seat is all the way back. Knees are just folded.
Yep.
Just completely folded up, and he gets out of the thing.
Has to sit cross-legged in the back seat.
Yeah, it's wild. It's like I think he would have been okay. But once again, we are doing our research on the 1970s NBA.
Oh yeah.
Going into vaults.
Sure.
Gonna get better.
We are going to get better as basketball analysts.
I saw one clip that was not reassuring for the quality of play. I believe it was in the group chat. But, yeah, maybe there's others out there.
We don't want to bury 70s because at that point, they didn't know of a Euro step. They didn't know of an in-out dribble. They didn't know about a behind-the-back pass. They didn't know about being able, what form is. So we don't want to, it's hard to compare those. But those have been compared. Those guys have been talked about being so much more superior than the current guys. And the current guys are like, what are we? I can pull it from half court and put it in the hoop. Those guys are literally hook shotting because they couldn't even get the ball. Just two different sports. But for LeBron's take about Giannis scoring, all this, that seems to be the one that has ruffled the most amount of disrespect feathers by people. And it's like he didn't say he was against an all-star team from the 1970s.
No.
He said just in a game.
I think if he would have said 100, people wouldn't have batted. 250s.
Doggy said he couldn't get a layup in the 70s.
Well, we're going to find out.
He'd be on his back.
Yeah.
He'd be on his back.
That's what he did say.
Giannis is another guy. What is he? 6'10"?
Yeah, but that's what Doggy said. What are you going to do when they foul you all the time? You got to make foul shots. I don't know if Giannis, you're going to shoot 50% from the foul line.
And then what did he say? He said they traveled in the coach, sat in the middle seat, 82 games.
Yep. Good point.
They played, which is...
They played 3 nights in a row now.
Valid points. I didn't even think...
That is fair.
That is a valid point. That is a very valid point. The way, and I think Charles Barkley didn't even have somebody that washed his jersey. Remember, that's a story every single.
Yeah, he said back to backs. He said he'd get in the shower with
wearing his uniform on.
That's not real.
No,
that's what Kenny said. He was like, "No one's ever done that.
Yeah,
ever."
That's not real.
Chuck said, "I used to do it all the time. I don't know what you're talking about."
It's been nice to be dropped into this basketball world.
It's about to heat up. I'm so pumped for the playoffs.
I've learned. Me too. I'm watching these games tonight.
Bro, that Steph game was last night. I watched a good chunk of that, especially the second half. That was awesome.
Yeah, Steph going bananas, and then Timberwolves Nuggets goes into double overtime. I mean, it was bananas. It was the NBA showing up in Steph. It did look like 10 years ago, 7 years ago, Steph, whatever it was, 5 years ago, Steph, when it was automatic green light and it was falling. And those were fun games to watch. That was like Barry Bonds and McGuire and Sosa baseball. Mm-hmm. It was like, if you're watching basketball and there's a chance a guy, for no reason, there's going to be a lot of time left on the shot clock, a lot of time left on the game clock, and this guy's just getting to half court and saying, fuck it. Mm-hmm. And he's just splashing it and then going back and doing the same thing on the next possession. That's exciting basketball. That's Harlem Globetrotters meets the NBA. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that is basically what Steph became. Must watch. And last night we got a chance to experience yet again. And that guy just passed him the ball. Jimmy Butler, when he gets in the playoffs, I mean, he's a pain in the ass. So if Steph's going to start doing this again, and then Draymond and Jimmy are going to be, because they're running pick and rolls out at the three-point line like old school. Draymond Green handed that ball off to Steph at the three. What's easier, a layup or a three? Well, if you have Steph, this is an automatic three. They're running plays just for him to huck it up. It's like if this is what the playoffs are going to be with Golden State, and then we got Luka and LeBron together, and then we got SGA and the boys down there at OKC playing the way they're playing. Boston, obviously, always going to be incredibly talented. It's like basketball does have a chance here to be fucking sustainably great for, I don't want to just say the layman, but, casual fans, I think, are going to buy in.
Yeah, that's why the first round Lakers-Warriors would stink. because then you're
we lose.
You're losing one of those teams so early. And to be completely honest, even if it was Nuggets Lakers or Nuggets Warriors in the first round, like that stinks because all of a sudden, and I'm not saying they're not great teams, but like having the Rockets and the Thunder be two of the premier teams in the second round of the playoffs versus those other teams, it just wouldn't be the same as seeing like a Steph LeBron in the Western Conference Finals. Like that would be a dream. So the West, because it is so competitive, it almost is turning into a situation where like, oh shit, we're gonna have some matchups too early. Whereas the East, it's pretty top heavy aside from the Pacers.
How's Skeen's doing today here in baseball? I saw a tweet that said he's throwing like a 99-mile-an-hour splinter or something like that.
I don't doubt it. Through 3 innings, he has surrendered 2 hits. He has 1 strikeout, no earned runs. The Pirates are up 1-0, and we are going to the bottom of the 4th.
How many pitches has he had, and what's normal?
He has thrown 41 pitches through 3 innings. I think that's pretty solid.
They're saying this is a 99-mile-an-hour splinter. What does that mean?
Yeah, good luck. Splinker, it's got a lot of splitting. I mean, that thing's just moving like crazy, and he's
jamming you up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can see where it kind of starts. And then it ends, it's incredibly inside. I mean, good luck.
So when he was talking to us, that's his strikeout ball right there.
Yeah.
That's the strikeout pitch.
That's his out pitch.
He said he wanted to work on a couple of the strikeout pitches. So he's throwing his other shit to get to a 2-strike, and then he's bringing this state fair game right down the pipe pitching.
Pretty much, because for his limited time in the majors, like his strikeout percentage on that pitch is like absurd. Like guys just can't hit it because it moves so much, and then
Why doesn't he do it for 3 pitches?
Well, you still got to. When you can throw 100 miles an hour, like with the fast, like his fastball still moves too. Like, and guys, I mean, you just can't. If you're only seeing that once in at bat, as opposed to like major league hitters, if he's throwing that every single time, eventually guys will kind of realize like what it's doing, what he's trying to do. So
once again, for somebody that did not play baseball growing up, I understand that is not normal. He's got 2 strikes. Now it's time. Right now we are.
Well, that's what I asked him. Like when he was on the show last, I was like, has that been like a concerted effort by his manager and like the pitching coaches? Like, is he hunting strikeouts still? Or do they want him to kind of pitch to contact a little bit more? Because if he has a bunch of strikeouts in games, his pitch count is going to get high. Like that just inevitably is what's going to happen because he's not having as many, I throw the splinker first pitch of an at-bat and a guy grounds out. Because he's getting into a lot of 2 and 3 strike counts and stuff like that. But that's what he said. Like when you have stuff like he does, he was like, when you get into 2 strike counts, like the strikeouts are going to come. I'm going to strike guys out.
Did you see him on GQ?
Oh, yeah, he looked great.
Sweet.
Looked great.
Good for baseball.
Yeah, with his puppy, too.
Good for baseball with his puppy and his lady. This is not the photo that was being promoted publicly. That is the photo that was being promoted publicly. That's Rue, his dog, obviously his lady, Livy Dahn, who is the NIL god, I believe, as we entered this entire thing, as an LSU gymnast, national champion, I think, twice.
Yeah.
I think absolute monster on the mat.
Yes, you can say that.
And the beam.
And the
bars.
And the balls.
And the rings.
We don't know enough about gymnastics, I must say.
I don't think women do the rings.
They do. Or the pommel.
Men's only.
Yeah. I used to be able to do standing backflip, so I was pretty gymnastics.
Let's not get into it.
I don't know.
It does stink, though, because Pirates 1-0. You know what that just reeks of?
Oh, yeah, they're losing this game.
2-1.
No, we're not the Braves. We win games.
2-1
Paul will end up, unfortunately, giving up 1 in like the bottom of 5, and then it'll be tied, and then they'll blow it. And from this GQ shoot, I just all that told me was he ain't gonna be in Pittsburgh very long.
Yeah, I don't know how many Pittsburgh Pirates are doing GQ magazine, but I'm happy that it's Paul Skeens. We love
Kendall.
Paul. We appreciate Paul. Keep doing your thing, Paul. You're fun to watch. You're the reason why we're in baseball, and I assume there's a lot of others. Speaking of sports, we're not normally into, but have gotten into. Let's go to the host of the CONCAFA pod, Bubba Gumpino, alongside Jeff Cameron and Breck Shea, a phenomenal soccer podcast covering everything. Breck Shea, Jeff Cameron, former U.S. men's national team members, also members of CONCAFA SC at the soccer tournament. The MLS is trying to nosedive their league. What was the ruling that was made about Messi's bodyguard? What the fuck is going on here?
They have banned his bodyguard his entire career at Barcelona and PSG. There was 4 pitch invaders. There's been 16 since he's been in the United States of America in the MLS. So this would be a terrible idea by the MLS, but I guess it has gone through, unfortunately.
Why would they do this?
I have no idea. No
this
idea
is
at
the
all.
guy.
16 times? Like, how long's Messi been in the MLS? 2 years?
Okay, so former special teams coordinator of mine, Tom McMahon. Okay, I think he's with the Raiders now currently.
Yeah.
I think he's still with the Raiders. He grew up on a horse farm. And his only job was to feed the stud. Hey, this entire thing goes as long as that stud horse right there is happy. Okay, that is needs to be alive, needs to be happy. So his entire job, basically growing up, was feed the stud. Just make sure you just feed the thing that matters here. Okay, This is the thing that matters. Without this, everything else is nothing. Why can't the MLS just feed the stud? Messi's the guy. Let him do whatever the fuck he wants. And if this special forces bald guy needs to walk around the outside so psychos, whether they're young or old, can't get close to the greatest soccer player of all time, let him do it. I don't understand. So does this mean they're going to up their own security if they don't think they need a special forces guy?
I have seen no reasoning behind any of it. All I've seen everywhere is that he has been banned. I have no idea what it is.
I don't like it. Are you guys going to cover this on the CONCAFA pod?
Yeah, we'll cover it today. Be out tomorrow. Big match tonight, actually. CONCAFA Champions Cup. Inter Miami travels to LA to play LAFC. Messi should be starting tonight. Scored after being subbed on 2 minutes.
In LA, you need to have that security guy out there.
Are we in favorites?
They're also plus 220 tonight for some reason.
Because he's not there.
Yeah.
I wish you would have hit that kid.
Look at that stride.
I'd have sent a message.
It's all kids. These are kids. You know, Messi normally goes, hey, everything's okay.
See, that's why
okay.
they keep coming.
Everything's okay.
I mean, special forces.
These kids, they need a bit. They're not learning a lesson.
Yeah, you got to learn.
They're not learning a lesson in any of these.
How about this guy too? They've shown clips of him. He tries to mirror where Messi is on the field.
Yep.
So I assume there were some other MLS teams that were like, we got this special forces guy walking through our bench. And you're like, yeah, it's Messi's guy. That's how it goes.
Sorry.
And all those other MLS teams, hey, why do you think your stadium sold out tonight? Okay? Other than Atlanta, Portland, Columbus, I'd assume.
Charlotte's been good this year.
But most places are selling out strictly because, hey, Caitlin Clark is here.
Oh.
Hey, Messi is here. Let's go ahead and take care of that situation. I can't wait to hear Jeff Cameron's take on this, and Breck's, both MLS guys, in the end. Breck playing MLS?
Yep.
Jeff playing MLS?
Yep.
When? After he came back from
After he came back, and Breck played for Inter Miami for a little bit.
Breck's got so much moxie.
He's a dog.
Breck has the blonde hair. You remember
Breck was throwing everybody down. Anyone who had any issue, Breck was knocking him to the ground.
He ragdolled that one guy.
Dude, he was ready to fight. Like a lot of times. I don't think I fully understood it. I've seen the Breck Shea highlights because his blonde hair is awesome. He's a goal-scoring machine. Like the way he hits the ball is sick. So I've seen the highlights, especially whenever we were trying to put together a CONCAFA last year. It was like, hey, Breck Shea might want to be on the team. I'm like, do you know Breck Shea? I'm like, yeah, I know Breck Shea. I love Breck Shea. He's a dog. I did not know he was that big of a dog. You cross him just a little bit. I mean, he's fucking throwing,
coming at
and ready to fight. It was like he set a good tone for CONCAFA. Him, Zach, Jeff, obviously Meat and the Arena Boys.
Does he like the beef stew for CONCAFA?
I think our entire team is. We have an entire team of beef stews.
Love that.
I think that is kind of what our team
Need that.
It was very apparent too. I think if you watch our team play,
We even fight each other after hours if we need to.
That's just for grit.
It's good chemistry building operations.
Iron sharpens iron.
Got to have good leadership in those moments too.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tony Mule.
Boys,
We got a game in 5 hours.
boys, it's time for bed.
Just had to settle some differences. Who's this, Breck?
That's Breck.
Goal, side panel, lefty, no problem. Let me celebrate, do my shit. Yep, absolutely.
Game.
Let's get the guy on camera. Yep, there he is. Dog. Love Breck.
He's done it.
Okay, so it's called the CONCAFA Pod.
Yes, sir.
Available tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning it'll be out.
If you're into soccer or want to get into soccer, because remember the World Cup's coming to our land in a couple of years. That's a good podcast to listen to. They're not speaking at a level where you can't understand it, but they're also covering everything you need to know to have a good soccer conversation. I felt like a real soccer guy over there in England when I was having my chat. Preston North End or whatever.
They fought, didn't give up a goal to the 58th against Aston Villa, still in the Champions League, top team in the Premier League. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and Preston North End, they're the one and only. Yeah, they won a title in 1800 something.
It's a big one.
It's a good year.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're due.
Wayne told me that. A lot of history. We won 1880 something.
Which league were they in at that point?
1880 something.
How many teams were they playing?
The England soccer one.
The EPL, brother.
I don't know if it was the Premier League.
They're in the same league as Burnley now. I don't know if they were up in the Premier League.
Did they play Burnley recently?
They beat Burnley.
What was the score?
3-0, I believe.
Ooh, They're the one and only, brother.
That's PNE.
Our goalie just gave it up after.
Yeah, JJ's crying now.
Well, JJ's running up business. He understands. Did you see Dude Perfect? You see Tyler?
The dudes? I saw
it.
He's at Hinkle, wasn't he?
He was at Hinkle Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
You mean
in Indianapolis with Caitlin. Threw a football from the stands, or threw a basketball, palmed it, WNBA ball from the stands. That thing had a little draw on it, splash.
The Hinkle hurdle.
First shot.
The Hinkle heave.
Yeah, he was going to call it the Butler ball, but Caitlin came up with the Hinkle heave or something like that.
Yeah, Butler ball would have sucked.
The question is that, AJ.
Yeah. Yes, he made it.
What's up,
They had
guys?
other balls if he needed it. Didn't.
That's a hell of a toss.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice little draw on it.
Tyler's got
Splash.
Yeah, right in
Tyler
the
knows what
boom,
he's
fist
doing.
pound, noggin.
Remember, he made a kick.
No, I do.
Remember, he made a field goal down at Texas A&M that I did not think was possible.
Yeah.
Get a hockey
No, they're
stick.
athletes, man. They're all athletes. For real.
Tyler is unbelievable. I think
Purple Hoser.
I think Purple Hoser was really good. Tall guy. They the twins.
Twins.
Of course.
I found out that tall guy's 6'9".
Tall guy.
I saw Luka playing against him. It wasn't going well for tall guy, but he's tall.
Yes, very tall. He was standing there for the college game day field goal thing, and they were just kind of hanging there. And I was like,
Jesus Christ, tall guy.
because the twins, they're
Small guy.
They're little guys.
They're properly sized, I'd say.
Okay.
So whenever they're standing, maybe
You don't get a nickname like tall guy without being
really tall.
tall guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they have proposed some sort of
collab.
Yeah, but I don't want to say decathlon, but some sort of
Oh, a dude off?
Yeah,
I like that.
I don't think it'd be
A dude off, right?
Whoa.
Our dudes versus their dudes.
Yeah, just dudes getting off.
do.
Dudes being dudes.
Versus other dudes.
This dude's getting off.
I don't know.
Dudes going off against other dudes.
I mean, we'll workshop the name. But yeah, I think there's going to be some sort of athletic battle.
Okay.
Which I would like to announce.
They don't fucking want it.
Yeah. I think their cardio is going to be a lot better. I don't know how much vitamins.
Just do guts. We should just do global guts.
Oh my God. Could you imagine us?
Mike O'Malley hosts the dude off.
Is Mo going to be there to keep score?
Yeah.
Play this game?
Thunder Buckets?
Yeah, they won't have a chance.
Nobody wants Boston Connor and D-Bone right now in that game. Unbelievable.
We're playing good ball. First time I played it.
Yeah, you're making up rules.
Well, I'm changing the rules of what they should have been. I wish I was here when we made the rules, but yes, I guess I will abide by whatever the.
I think you've only played one day. I think whenever you get into it a little bit more, you'll understand why we made the decision. But also, Thunder Buckets is evolving. Thunder Buckets is continuing to evolve. It's a good game.
It is.
It's a good game. Anybody can play this game, AJ, which is why it's good, but you can get better at it. So it's like also why it's good.
Just like beer pong? Just like beer pong or what?
I'd say this is easier than beer pong. Like when it gets to the final bucket, it's going to get made within 2 shots. You know where like in beer pong, the final cup can take a while?
Mm-hmm.
This one, like it's going to get made. But getting to that point's tough because you see the buckets are bigger. It's a lot of plastic around.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's a lot of rim jobs. Tons of rim jobs out there. Just everybody getting rimmed up out here.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, bang, boom, pow, Yeah. And I don't know how D-Bone's on a team that is winning because his particular technique is one that would not, in theory, be a good one.
Maybe in the 70s.
Exactly.
What do you mean? Granny shots or what?
No, he outlet passes it. It barely gets above the height of the trash can, and then it just kind of.
It's terrible.
It shouldn't work, but it is. He's currently a champion, so we can't say anything about it. Legitimately, we can't. Beat us twice yesterday, which.
But if it's on a rim job, you can knock it off. You can knock it away, right? So
Yes.
then maybe that's good because is it hard to ricochet his rim jobs?
Well, his is either hitting the back wall or somehow it's going in. So, that's kind of the thing. Yesterday, there was a knockover of the bucket, which was a new style that you could definitely go for. Because in beer pong, if you huck and knock over the cup, it counts.
Mm-hmm.
Here, it's like some of them have weights in them, some of them don't. So we have to figure that whole thing out.
Move the bag.
Do you have to move weight into the live buckets?
I would love to watch AJ play this game and just change 7 rules.
Yeah. He would be throwing it as hard. Yeah.
Well, you can throw it however you want, right?
This was just a great play.
So if you get your rebound, obviously you get a trick shot. Connor skips ball away from Foxy, says he doesn't get a rebound, but he does.
Oh, was that the
rebounding thing? I didn't know about. Okay.
Oh yeah, I used my ball to hit his ball away, and he picked up my ball.
Well, you actually used my ball, so I should potentially technically have that shot.
Okay, well, Foxy, your teammate took it from you then.
Yeah, well, I don't like that at all, especially because it didn't go in. But this was incredible effort out of Boston Connor.
Heady play.
Very heady, and he threw the shit out of that ball. If he misses that, who knows what gets hit over here.
This is Brooks. No doubt. No doubt.
There was a kick yesterday that almost took off Foxy's head because the rebound to get the extra bounce shot, very, very crucial. To
Vital.
Very, very vital. So the rebounding afterwards has gotten a bit intense.
So if you miss, you want to miss where it bounces back towards you.
Yeah.
Short, yeah.
You want to be short.
You just don't want to miss.
I like the rebounding aspect. I didn't know about that. Okay.
Yeah, add a little athleticism. Yeah, Mitt booted a ball yesterday. Almost put a hole into Foxy's face.
Head out of swivel.
And then, Connor threw the shit out of that ball.
It fucking drilled it.
I almost put a hole in the door, too.
With a baseball?
We distracted me, yeah.
We distracted me?
No, you.
We distracted me. Okay, that's a great line.
Mid-toss.
I need to start talking about that. Speaking of.
It's therapeutic, though. Just
Check ball.
Tossing it back.
Ball game.
Oh, good catch.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, playing catch is awesome.
They were hucking it yesterday. Almost took D-Bone's head off. Yeah. So they were throwing the baseball here, full court. Pretty good little huck. Rebound comes from Thunder Buckets this way. D-Bone's running. I need to go get it. And then all of a sudden, I think Parifs.
It would have killed him.
Sees a ball, drops down, and then, because they're throwing baseballs over here, you see, on the side. So there was a rebound that came over near Ty's down here in the gray with the glove. Yeah, there it is. There's him ducking right there. Yeah, it was.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Thunderdome has been active. You know, it's been a good time. Trying to create new games. Trying to create more things to kind of do. The punching game has been a good addition.
Yep.
A lot of people taking swings on that.
Anyone break Bruce's record?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's it say? 936?
Yeah.
We got a power champ and we got a speed champ.
Yeah. 2 speed champs.
Yeah, well.
What's the speed?
No.
What thing's that?
So we think the speed is just literally the power one, just with a decimal. So we think the speed in the middle, because it's a different game, that would be a 904, but instead it's a 90.4. The 936 that I hit yesterday, probably a 93.6 if it's in the middle, if we had to guess. The reflex one over there.
Yeah, that's the one I meant.
That's a good game.
That game's impossible. Foxy got that record. That's going to be impossible to beat.
Yep.
So they do a countdown: 3, 2, 1, and then a horn, and then you have to hit immediately after the horn. And that's supposed to be your reflex, but it's not reflex. It's all timing. It's all 3, 2, 1, like a sprint car, or like a funny car, like a green light. Foxy timed it perfectly, .02. That's going to be impossible to beat.
Got to get .01 at this point.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Yeah.
We'll try.
It has to happen.
Connor said, I'm the fastest in the room. So I said to him, are you listening or you're timing this thing up? He goes, you listen, it's a reflex. No way. No way. You actually listen, you hit it's like .22, .37.
Yeah, blind. You should get your fist lined up and blindfold everybody. Then you see.
It's too late.
You're still listening though.
But you're still listening to it.
Yeah, you're right.
So.
There's no real way to get a good reaction. That doesn't change anything, actually.
It's .02.
Don't do it.
I think the issue with this one versus other ones of these that I've seen at bars or pubs or whatever, the top part that is hard comes down pretty far into the ball. Normally the ball is a little bit more
exposed,
distinguished, like kind of more exposed. This one, if it goes down, Bruce, will you go punch this thing?
Yes.
Someone's gonna break their hand off or slice it up or something.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Cut it out.
So if you look at it, Bruce, we're going to show it. See how far down the hard part comes down into that. I mean, that cuts into the ball.
Is that padded or what? Like, what is this?
It's padded, but there's thick plastic right behind it, and it's impossible to move it or take it off.
That's crazy.
That's really the only downfall of that.
Give it
thing.
one, Bruce.
Bruce, go ahead and give that thing.
Go on, Bruce. Do you headbutt it? What if you headbutt it? How hard?
That's a good punch there.
Good boy, Bruce.
860. See, that would be an 87.2 there. There you go. And then if you go to the right there, the Great Chase, 4 goals to go. Obviously a massive night for Ovi. Thank you to the NHL and to the Capitals for sending this over. What a cool looking thing. Nick, we're 4 goals away from history being made. 1999 is when Wayno has kept his record since. It's going to happen this year, it feels like.
Sure feels like it. Foxy's going to roll this clip from last night against the lowly Boston Bruins. There's Ovi, the greatest goal scorer potentially of all time, wide open, all alone in front of the net, not a soul around. Maybe one of the easiest goals he's gotten of those 891. And, man, it's going to be a hell of a celebration for him and those Caps fans if he breaks it, because they are poised to make a run. Maybe this is the year they get their second Lordo in franchise history. And Boy,
sails off
party
into
all
the
summer.
sunset.
Just party all summer.
The last time they won Stanley Cup, Ovi had Lordo everywhere. I mean, he was in fountains in different cities. He was on a talk show run, and I believe he was boozed up 5-6 straight days without sleep. It was when I became an Ovechkin fan, actually, after he won, because he and the Pittsburgh Penguins obviously had a massive rivalry. You called this goal easy. At the end of the night, they had their goalie pulled, and there was a couple opportunities he had for like three-quarter of the rink shots, and they were trying to get him the puck. It ended up dying in the corner. It's like he could steal a couple empty netters, too, that count as goals. 4 goals to go, 8 games left. Shout out to the Washington Capitals for sending us that beautiful thing. The great chase is on. Ovechkin's legacy has been cemented already, but could he be the greatest goal scorer in the history of hockey? Feels like yes.
Has to happen this year, right?
For sure.
It would be so disappointing if it was like one short. We got to wait an entire offseason just for it to happen the first game next year.
Yeah, and then they would start trying to prepare. Like, I think I was talking to Otis Dozer, and I think they have the Wild maybe tomorrow night. I think they're playing the Minnesota Wild maybe on Thursday.
Next game, Hurricanes, it says.
Okay, so when do they play the Wild? Did they play the Wild? Maybe they already played the Wild.
Probably one of the last days. Ooh, they might have already played the Wild because they did that entire thing where Fleury was walking off and Ovechkin made everyone stay.
2 games ago, they played the Wild.
Okay, so he said there was people, that were like, he might break it tonight and need 9 goals or something. It was like, that is the thing, though. There's a chance he scores 4 goals in a game. So literally any of these games, it could be it, or it could literally drag out forever. That's the beauty of hockey.
Funny enough, last game of the season, April 17th, Caps are at the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Could you imagine?
Oh, boy.
And then imagine he gets that, then they go into playoffs, they win Lordo, and then he retires, and it's like, this has been my game all along.
Yep. That'd be great for hockey. That would be huge. If that happens with Ovechkin, that would be something that would propel the NHL playoffs over the NBA playoffs, pending LeBron and Steph going on a massive run.
Today, 7 p.m., Capitals, Hurricanes. Then Friday, April 4th, got the Blackhawks in Washington. Then they traveled to the island and take on the Long Island Islanders. Then the Hurricanes. Then the Blue Jackets. Look out, Blue Jackets.
Watch out.
Then Islanders, then Pens. He's got 8 games to score 4.
It's a favorable schedule to do it.
Let's hope he gets that thing done early.
Come on, Al.
Let's hope he gets that thing done early. We don't need history in the PPG Paints Arena there on April 17th. Speaking of, I do believe the tickets are gone. Thank you to everybody that purchased it.
Nice.
I think there's still some
scattered.
I guess you're going to have those. I don't know if we'll roll those out in the coming days, but should be a fun night next Wednesday night, April 9th, AJ Hawk. I hope you're ready to perform, brother. I hope you're ready to perform.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm going to be flying from the ceiling, all kind of tricks.
Dude,
don't give it away. Shut up.
Don't tell anybody, dude. You ever see what Pink does at her concerts?
Oh yeah.
It's AJ Hawk next Wednesday night.
That's right.
Sweet.
Songs and all.
If it passes all the tests, obviously. Logistically, it's going to be a lot, but there's a chance that AJ Hawk is actually with wings, like an actual hawk, flying over you the entire night, Wednesday, April 9th. He'll just ask you to put out a little, and he'll come down and feed.
Yep. Baby bird needs a couple cups to piss in.
We are workshop. What do you mean you're in? Yeah, we know you already agreed to this. If we are able to pull that off, that is what's possible. Wednesday, April 9th. Holy shit. The world's going to change. AJ Hawk's going to fly around and then get down and get a little popcorn. He's like, I need a drink. I need a drink. And they're gonna... I don't know if that's going to happen.
It should.
We've looked into it. We've certainly looked into it. This is, how big of a baseball guy do I look right now?
Dude,
Pretty
actually
big.
massive.
So casual.
Why don't you fire that thing into one of those holes?
Nah, you know, we've almost broke enough. Into the bucket! Off the bounce! Nope, not my glove. Not going to throw it. All right, we'll be back tomorrow covering the sports. Let's have an incredible evening, shall we?
Hell yeah.
We got hockey. We got Paul Skeens is on the mound right now. How's he doing?
He is through 4 2/3 right now. He's got 2 strikes. We'll see. He's about to, I'd guess, put Ben Rortvedt down, probably strike him out, and then he will be through 5 innings unscathed.
2-0 now.
Yep, Buccos are up 2-0.
Okay.
Let's go!
Cruise missile.
Yeah.
Did the Pirates tweet out a Skeens tweet, Gumps?
No, they did not. They just tweeted that there was a fucking game today. Was second start of the fucking season. It's great.
Why'd they quit on it? I like Happy Skeens Bump Day to all those who participate.
Season's over.
Yeah, all the Pittsburghers are saying that it's done.
Giving up already.
What?
Red Sox got the same record, brother. It's long seasons.
The Braves haven't won a single game.
And they should feel the same way.
That's not what the bettors are saying. Bettors are saying Braves still got it.
Yeah. Well.
Just like the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Amen.
Wait until you see Paul Skeens.
Why don't you catch this thing?
How's he not on the graphic?
Yeah, he's pitching.
How's he not?
All right.
How's he
I'm not doing it with another team.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not doing it.
You sure?
We do it too much.
That's just the batting order. That's why.
Okay.
Starting lineup.
What's also?
I got Skeens on the bottom.
They would have.
Highlighted.
I bet.
Scroll down. Let's see if he's on any of
That's
these.
not the same Adam Frazier, is it?
Yeah.
Fine.
Oh, they lost 7-0 last night.
Welcome to the 7-0.
Exactly.
That was a tough barn down there. in
Tampa's a
Tampa.
good ball club.
Okay, so there's not a single Paul.
Welcome to the show,
Thomas
bitch.
He started
Harrington
last night.
debut patch. Congratulations. Let's keep it rolling.
Got the Skeens jersey.
Where the fuck is Skeens? Is Thomas
Nobody's bigger than the
Harrington?
team.
They got Thomas
Nobody's bigger
Harrington
than
on
the
the
team.
graphic.
What's this all about? Thomas
Call
Harrington.
me.
Tommy H on the
Yeah.
graphic.
Did you know that the Red Sox have a guy that have struck out 15 of his 19 at bats this year?
Who the fuck is Thomas Harrington?
Nice try, Tony.
Why is this?
He's a dog.
Thomas Harrington?
I've never heard.
Look at
of
this.
him, but I
This is
assume
our
he is.
entire
This is the third Harrington post.
third, fourth. They said welcome to the show. They
It
had
was
a
his
walk.
first start yesterday.
Pitching Thomas Harrington.
Is that Skeens?
No, he was doing a GQ shoot yesterday. This
No,
was
keep please going. Keep scrolling. When will we see Skeens?
probably
6-1.
No, no.
Not for a while.
not until opening day. The opening day.
Holy shit, man.
Is that a pitcher on the starting lineup? Yup.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this is the
no.
first time.
So they do that. all the
This is
time.
the first time they haven't put.
They fucking
Happy
hate
birthday,
this
Ryan.
Yeah, Mitch Keller's on the mound opening day, Tony. They already announced that.
Jesus Christ.
I'm talking about the first game of the season. I bet you there's a post about Skeens.
They hate
I
this.
doubt
That was
it.
a long
trade
time
him?
ago.
It's like 5 days ago.
If I'm Livy Dunn, I'm telling Paul it's time to go, brother.
Here it comes.
I haven't seen a lot of ones.
This is
Adam
crazy.
Frazier. Adam Frazier. We have Paul. Do they know we have Paul Skeens?
No.
Who's that?
We still Justin Lawrence. We got him too. First strikeout, black and gold. Justin Lawrence. Los Piratas.
Need more Thomas Harrington.
Hey, this curveball here from fucking Bailey Falter will leave you faulting at the knees. Keep scrolling. Where the hell is Paul Skeens?
Put him on the Yankees
Bailey
already,
started
man.
game 3,
Red Sox.
so Mitch will be game
Oh,
2.
there's
It's
another
Another pitcher on the starting line. The only pitcher that has not been on the starting lineup thus far has been Paul Skeens.
Kind of a wild move.
O'Neal Cruz too. We need more of him.
They want to keep him humble.
I believe I said he's been struggling
Thank you.
quite a bit in center field.
O'Neal, 6 solid innings out of this guy.
They put
Okay,
shortstop.
a
did.
win
They
under
moved
the
him to
Knights.
center.
There's Bednar.
That was game 2, so here comes your Skeens.
Jolly Roger in Miami. Rays
Jolly
it.
Roger.
Hell yeah, Rays is Jolly Rogers. Big winner in Miami. Lowly Miami. Good dap up there with Cruz and Bednar.
Raise it.
Rays it. That's a big time win. O'Neal Cruz. Okay. Lopego con todo. First Cruz missile of the season. We'd like to see that. Keller time. Excuse me. Where the fuck is Paul Skeens?
They're active. You got to give them that. They are very active.
Where the fuck? I did not know this is what this was going to become. I don't think any of us knew what we were signing up for here, but now that we're here.
That's a retweet from Los Pirates. That's not even their actual account.
All
there.
right. First home run goes to Nick Gonzalez. Let's keep it rolling. This is why Ryan Reynolds' favorite baseball player. Okay. Premier base. Okay. Paul Skeens
Here we
officially
go.
dealing. There it is. We found him.
Yep. That was when he started. What do you guys want to do? Post him every day?
When he's
You post him when he's pitching.
They wouldn't even post
Every
him
other
today.
pitcher.
They haven't posted anything from his start today.
Los Pirates, maybe. They just haven't retweeted it yet.
Well, Los Pirates is good.
I mean, what the hell is going on? We got the guy.
Get him out of there.
Someone should tell him.
Stat.
O'Neal Cruz. Elo profundo. Elo profundo.
That's why baseball stinks.
No, this is Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, I
Don't
was
blame
gonna
all of
say,
baseball.
It's the Pirates, brother.
O'Neal Cruz hits a dinger. We love to see that. Keep scrolling down. How about a 99-mile-an-hour splitter or splinker?
We might just need to go to Los Parados.
So does
Are you serious?
Does
Who's the starting pitcher for this
text
game? Right there.
Pitching Ninja after the inning be like, hey, that was a splinker? Or is this guy just guessing on everything?
You're talking about pitching ninja?
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. Because Paul Skeens did tell us that he's a four-seam. He's given credit for a two-seamer, a four-seam, and it's actually this. What's that?
That was recorded as a four-seamer.
Not
Just
a
on-
splinker.
Yeah, not a
Who
splinker.
makes that decision?
The pitching gods.
Like StatCast or some. The MLB.
So
I guess.
it's a human though, right? It's a human watching every pitch and making that decision.
It might be IBM.
I think they call
The head
Roger
pitcher's
Clemens,
definitely AI.
actually.
Might be.
Head pitching consultant.
Yeah, the head pitching
I don't
consultant.
think they call Roger Clemens Gumps.
They should.
All right. Can we get an update on Skeens on the internet, Pittsburgh Pirates?
Probably not.
Where's Los Piratas, too? They need to pick it up as well. They look like the better Twitter account, for sure.
For sure.
They are.
Elo Profundo! That's the only way I'm talking home runs from now on. Is that what? Is it? Zito, am I saying that right?
Yeah, you got it.
Ela Profundo?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, you know.
same thing.
He's got it.
Profundo?
Would you say that? Will you say
Profundo?
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 Fondo.
Is it Ela?
Yeah, you can do that.
A or Allah?
I think it'd be Allah.
Well,
Allah. All right. Ela Profundo?
Allah Profundo.
Alla Profundo. Okay. All right, I'm going to start saying that. Alla Profundo! And also, we need, what's a strikeout, Zito? I can't wait to hear this. What's the deal? Where the fuck was he? We got the guy.
That's a good question. That's a
Not for
good
long.
question.
Fucking Richard Harrington, this guy all over it.
Tommy.
They're so happy he's here. I am happy that Tommy's here. But also, cool. Guess whose team you're on? The guys.
O'Neal Cruz. See him all over the place.
As he should be.
Well, he plays every day.
You guys claim he's there for 7 years?
There's no way.
What's that whole claim thing? Jet Passon said they got like 3 years and then they're going to find out.
Okay.
He said like 2 more years.
Yeah, typically that would be the window in which they would be like, all right, we're not going to be able to afford this guy. And he probably doesn't want to be here, so let's trade him.
There is a chance ownership is telling the social media team, let's try to keep his profile low. We need to keep him cheap.
That would make more sense.
The direct translation of Elo Profundo is into the deep or into the depths.
Can't wait.
It's going deep.
Love that.
Alla Profundo. Let's go alla Profundo into this saga happening with Trey Hendrickson. Okay. He came on the show. People say we don't have culture. Please. Fucking deep. That sounds bad.
Yeah.
Now that I thought about it.
Oh, yeah.
Not alla Profundo, but Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals.
Oh, yes.
That doesn't sound good.
Get in the water.
He's
not showing up, is he?
It's alla Profundo.
Yeah, exactly.
They're far from the shallow.
The communication thing was surprising because there was reports, what was that, last week, they were in deep talks. They were almost done. The three-peat was on.
Trade was off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, me and my wife, if we talk about it, we communicate. Hasn't been a lot of that.
I haven't talked to them at all.
Well, good luck. I hope they get it sorted. And also, congrats to Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, yeah, Mello.
That's Mello.
He's alla Profundo in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Way in there.
First ballot.
Way in there.
Deep.
First ballot. Way in there. Alla Profundo Hall of Fame. I saw some people tweet everybody makes it in the Basketball Hall of Fame. No, they don't.
It is.
That's every Hall of Fame now.
No.
No.
How many guys a year in the NBA?
The NFL one's pretty.
Plus the NBA, the Naismith, it takes into account everything. Like, so if you go in, like, so college, college national championship.
There's different Hall of Fames?
No, I think that's the biggest one for them, at least. I think there are multiple basketball, but it's not just a
But people
NBA
will make
Hall
it
of Fame.
for a high school career, a college career.
Yeah,
That's what you're saying.
so like even like Yao Ming when he went
Okay.
in, it was he played in other leagues as well. So
So they have more reasons to make the Hall of Fame as opposed to just what you did in the association.
Yeah.
But Carmelo would be making it for numerous reasons, which is why he's the headliner for the 2025 class. Congrats to Melo.
Boy, Mello.
Now, the Pro Bowl would be something where you could say what you said about it.
I was just thinking about what Dion said, where it's like, hey.
Yeah, Dion wants different levels to it.
Yeah.
And then there's people that have been waiting to get in for 35 years that are like, is that right, Dion? Yeah, because I just want to get in before I die.
with that being said, Sante Samuel should be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
There it is.
Just we're talking about it.
We agree. I looked up his stats. Guy was a player.
Son was nasty.
Never talked about. Not really talked about as much.
No, I mean, people talk about the bad thing. Didn't have a great relationship with Bill, dropped the interception in the Super Bowl for the perfect season. But he had a stretch where, I think 06 to maybe 2011, 2012, like 6, 7, 10, 11 picks. Like, he turned the ball over. And we had him on the pod, man-to-man pod a while ago. And I asked him top 5 receivers. And he was like, I didn't even play the receivers. I was quarterback. So and people say, oh, he was a zone corner, he was a this. If you're effective and you get the ball, you can impact winning. Like, I don't care how you do it.
I believe I heard a promo he said, where he said, you take my 4 to 5 years, which might be the 5-year run you were talking about, and he goes, just go ahead and put it against
anybody.
Whoever.
It's kind of like AB. Antonio Brown, he had like a 6-year stretch where anybody, Jerry Rice, I feel like he's kind of almost in the league
Even
of his
Jerry.
own. But it's a 6-year stretch where anybody, like this right here, and if you have anything else outside of that, So he won too, multiple time Super Bowl champion.
I like people talking shit,
Of course,
especially if they feel like they've been disrespected for a while. And I hope it all gets settled. Don't love whenever you see players bury other players. Ever. Okay, but sometimes needs to happen, and sometimes people need to see it happen. Happy because of what he's been saying. More people have been looking into him as a player. Dude's a baller. Good luck. Hope you make it into the Hall of Fame. But the Hall of Fame for the NFL is one that it seems like every year there's people that are like, need to get in, should get in, then don't get in. And I guess baseball, similar too, right? Baseball has like a different standard on what to get in, and it's like a moral high ground. They potentially move.
They've ruined. I mean, the Baseball Hall of Fame has pretty much been ruined because the writers, like, you're not supposed to take any of that stuff into effect. And like, I understand like the steroids aspect, but like the fact that like Barry Bonds isn't going to ever get into the Hall of Fame. Like, A-Rod's never going to get into the Hall of Fame. Like, some of these guys, Pete Rose, and, well, actually, I think they may have retroactively, now that he's dead, it's like, I would assume that they'll put him in at some point. But, it's like, who gives a shit? I mean, he didn't get
What if Pete shows up? That'd be crazy.
That would be wild.
He's dead. He can't celebrate.
That'd be crazy.
Hey, he's a dead guy. He can't celebrate it, so we can put him in.
We put him in now.
He can't enjoy it.
Because we didn't want to hold it against him for what he did. He should never be able to experience it and enjoy it. But once he's dead, the guy was a pretty good player.
He's good.
Make his family sad, but yeah.
What if he does?
I could see Pete being like, I knew you sons of bitches were going to do this. I've been just laying low in Mexico for the last couple of years.
Fakes his death.
Yeah.
Just like I said it would. All right. Let's get the hell out of here. What do we have tonight? We need to pay attention to. What do we need to pay attention? You said there's a big soccer game tonight?
Yeah, Inter Miami, LAFC, quarterfinals of the CONCAFA Champions Cup.
We're going to watch that.
Kicks off at 11:30.
11:30.
Yep, all eyes on that one.
Homework assignment. Everybody stay up till 2 a.m. watching the CONCAFA quarterfinals. Okay.
All eyes turn to LA.
Okay, Washington Capitals have a hockey game tonight. Maybe the Grade 8 gets
they're at Carolina. They will take on 20,000 screaming Caniacs.
Good luck, and they might hit that horn siren down there.
Pistons are in OKC. That should be fun.
Okay, Beef Stew's suspended though, right? He's not playing.
He is suspended 2 games. Other guys are suspended as well. That game is on ESPN tonight.
Okay, hockey, baseball, the soccer.
Yeah.
There's a baseball game on Amazon today.
Amazon baseball.
Yeah,
I know baseball had Apple. I didn't know they had Amazon.
I didn't know.
Brand new?
Yep. No, they did it last year as well. Yeah, the Yankees and D-backs are on Prime Video tonight.
Oh, fresh off a walk-off, eighth
Who's
inning.
the commentator?
Now that I'm thinking about it, I want to say the ones I've watched, I think you get to pick, so I usually just watch like the Yes Network version. I want to say they just use the local booths, and you, depending on who you're a fan of, you can choose. But now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if that's accurate, because I might end up just saying fuck it and going to MLB Network and just watching it how I want to watch it.
So available on MLB Network.
Yeah. That is the one thing is, well, I mean, you're not blacked out anyway, but I think you can still access it on, MLB if it's not blacked out.
What were you going to say, Connor?
Well, that's what ESPN Plus does so it would make sense. Prime does that with like hockey. Like if the Bruins are playing and it's not on national TV, like I can just watch the Bruins broadcast. So that would make sense if Amazon was doing it.
I turned on, because of that, the ESPN Plus options, Spanish Washington Capitals game last night with the Bruins.
Nice, yeah.
It was kind of electrifying. Yeah. Profundo, and they sent it into the deep, into the zone, but I didn't even know that was an option. Yeah. And I was I was like, damn, can I not find the other? And then obviously there was other. Amazon Prime's video of the New York Yankees broadcast consists of Michael Kay, who I believe is synonymous with the Yankees, right?
He does the Yankees play-by-play.
And David Cohn, Paul O'Neill, Joe Girardi, John Flaherty, and Jeff Nelson. It's a lot of people on microphones for one game.
That's not because Coney does ESPN now, so it'll probably be Michael Kay, Paul O'Neill, and Joe Girardi. That is the Yankees booth for CS Network.
All right, so we got some good sports tonight. We'll definitely do that, and then we'll be back manana. Thank you to everybody that bought tickets for big night today, and we can't wait to see you next Wednesday. Speaking of, we'll be back tomorrow. Big guest tomorrow. Holy.
Look out.
Almost too big.
Too big.
Yeah.
What Connor was researching earlier?
Giant of Kandahar?
The Giant of Kandahar.
Learn about that.
I wasn't researching that.
Did you?
How big was that?
We're not getting into this. We're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Remember?
You sure?
Yeah.
The one guy
That was
flew
lots
it
of
back.
time.
One guy flew him home. I
Yeah, he
heard.
said he's 1,100 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Guy's 10 feet tall, big feet. I didn't what? Let's get be a friend, tell a friend something nice.
spear.
It might change their life. His feet were like 4 of our feet.
Yeah, he wasn't wearing shoes, but
Jeez.
They had him wrapped up with linen, basically.
Where's he gonna get shoes from, Tom?
You can't find his
Bone.
shoes. Big and tall, maybe.
Yep.
Bone's feet's skinny.
Oh, Hawkster. He's probably fitting those.
Brother.
You're right. It's basketball shoes.
Big ass shit.
You like the NBA? What a question. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. We're in this thing together. Team on me. I appreciate you all so much for allowing us to do this.
Hell yeah.
And I appreciate anybody that says nice stuff about me. Genuinely, you have no idea how much I need it some days, and I can't thank you enough. We have obviously not done everything perfectly, but we try our best to be an additive to society, an additive to sport. We will continue to do that. We will see you tomorrow. Team on me, team on 3. 1, 2, 3, team. Goodbye.